kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah! You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over there and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
JETS, Jets.
And there he is, the accordion player extraordinaire. What is happening, everybody? Welcome to this week's Thursday Thick of It. I am GreenBean, and I am happy that you are here. I am really excited tonight. I'm in a great mood. I got all sorts of reasons for it, but none greater than this show right here. I can't wait to cut it up with you guys. We got rumors aplenty, man. We're going to cut it up about so many things. Lamar Jackson, Cortland Sutton. We even got Tua Tagovailoa in the rumor mill. How did he get in there? What happened? We're going to talk about all that sort of stuff. But before we do, I'm going to bring on our very special co-host. Let's say hello to Gunny Gumby. What's good, Gunny?
Hey, how you doing tonight, GreenBean? I'm excited for tonight's episode. Lots to talk about. about.
I'm good. How are you, man? Everything good?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know how it is. You know what I'm saying? Another day, another dollar. That's how I always put it. You know, just a constant grind, consistent step for step every day. And but today we get to go ahead and talk some New York Jets. And that to me is always a highlight of my week.
Indeed. Another dollar. That's interesting. I don't think I made $1 today. So we got to see how this goes. Just another day over here. No dollar. So very, very interesting. I do want to remind everybody, tonight we are giving away the Garrett Wilson signed mini helmet for all of the folks that donated to the GoFundMe we have to help out Nick Shine of proud New York Jets fans. There it is right there. We're going to be giving that away tonight for everybody that donated. If it's $1, if it's $1 million, every single person will be entered equally. And you can win that. We're going to give that away tonight right before trivia. But, Gunny, here's the real reason I'm excited. Another day, another dollar, Jets talk, all the stuff. But we have kind of a special night here. This is the first time that I've ever been able to collaborate with really the OG, man, the guy who started the Jets YouTube thing. So I'm really excited. Right? This is great. I'm really looking forward to it. So without further ado, let's say hello to tonight's special guest, Ian from Jet Central. What is good, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, well, we're real happy to have you on, man. Again, this is the first time. It seems almost odd. Like people said to me when I put out the thumbnail, like, what do you mean? I saw you guys together. And it's like, nope. It's just people think that we've already kind of worked together, but this is really cool, man. So thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it. I can't wait to hear your opinions on all these new rumors coming out, man. So it's really cool.
Yeah, no, I love this time of year, man. It's just like rumor this, rumor that. I mean, we got the quarterback position to worry about, offensive line. I know a couple of people, like a couple of my buddies have gotten like overwhelmed by the quarterback rumors, but no, like I personally love it. I love diving into all the stuff. And yeah, again, I appreciate you having me.
You know, it's funny that you say that. And, you know, Gunny and I were talking about this just last week. It does seem like this year, maybe even more than usual, we're seeing like a fatigue with Jets fans. And I think it might be maybe just the fact that it is quarterback. We thought we had our guy. We don't have the guy. Right. Zach struggled. We have to now figure out who it's going to be. But I'm noticing that, just like you said, a few of your friends, guys are sharing with me, like, dude, I can't talk quarterbacks anymore. It seems like everybody's kind of flaming out on this one early. What do you think that is?
I think you hit the nail right on the head. Like I felt like there was a lot of hype with Sam Darnold. Didn't work out. A lot of hype with Zach Wilson. Right now, it's not looking like it's going to work out. So I get it, right? I completely understand if you're tired of talking about the quarterback position, because it seems like, the Jets just continue to swing and miss. But no, I mean, like if the Jets land whoever it is, Carr, Rodgers, like it's going to be a massive, massive upgrade. I can't wait to see who it's going to be.
Yeah. Well, look, dude. So let's start right there. Let's just start with the big one. I'm very curious because truth is, I go back and forth. I really do. Like one day my favorite is this guy. Then I'm like, you know what? Actually, I think maybe, and I'm really curious to hear what your favorite, like best case scenario, if you had your way, which quarterback is coming? What does it look like from your angle?
It's a great question, man. Like, first off, like I'm kind of in the boat or a position where it's like, if the Jets, like worst case scenario, it's like, let's just say it's Ryan Tannehill, Jimmy G, whoever it is, that's still an upgrade over what the Jets had last year. So I think whatever route the Jets decide to go down, we're in better hands than we were a year ago. And when we look at last season, 7 wins with like absolutely horrible quarterback production. So that's the bright side. That's the silver lining of it all. But I think for me, if I could just have like my plan A, my perfect plan, if I was Joe Douglas, it would be sign Derek Carr, do what it takes. $5 million a year, 40 million. I mean, that puts him at like 4 years, 160. That's not bad. I mean, he's in his early 30s. Like you're looking at what some of these quarterbacks are going for, like Deshaun Watson, 230, Kyler Murray, I believe got over 180 guaranteed. Russell Wilson contract, like 4 years, 160 million to me is not that big of a deal. That way you keep your draft assets. You have all your, you're not trading away any players. You don't have to worry about dealing the first, the first round pick 13. And you just insert a top 15 quarterback into the lineup, a guy who's a great teammate, a guy who shows up every single Sunday.
Yeah,
doesn't get hurt too much, and just roll.
I like hearing you say that. Now, let me ask, Gunny, what's the number one concern with Derek Carr, you think? What is it? We hear it all the time. What is the big concern with Derek Carr that you've heard, Gunny?
Well, I've heard a couple of things, but I think a lot of people are discussing the fact that he can't play in the cold. They're worried about that. He has a pretty subpar performances when he's played in the cold. But I did a little bit of research on this not too long ago, and we're talking about like a sample size of about, I think it's 14, maybe 15 games where he's played in any kind of weather, like 30 to 35 degrees or below. And yes, he has not played well, but I think there's more to it than just a man can't play in the cold. You got to go ahead and acclimate a little bit to these kind of situations. And I think him coming here, practicing here in these kind of elements goes a long way into getting him prepared to go ahead and play in the cold. I have a hard time being able to judge his performances in the cold as being the reason why we shouldn't have him.
Right.
We're talking about a very, very small sample size. But yes, I've heard that literally across Twitter. Everywhere I'm hearing individuals' concern is, well, he doesn't do well in the cold. I don't know if y'all want him in New York. Or the other thing is he's soft. You know what I'm saying? He's too emotionally soft in the New York media. Yeah. Go ahead and eat him apart, right? So people are just looking for reasons right now to go ahead and not get who has legitimately been a top 12 quarterback in the league since he's come into the league. But we're looking for reasons to tear him apart because we, as Jets fans, have the ability to really sit here and dictate what a good quarterback looks or does not look like. I find that comical.
Right. So we got a big softy who can't play in the cold, Ian. So does this bother you? Is this, because some people, I mean, with all due respect, right? Like people are telling me, hey, I just don't like him for X, Y. But the cold thing in particular is interesting to me. Do you have the same concerns with the cold as maybe some other fans out there?
I think I think, if you're talking about handing out a big money deal, you got to look at all the data. And, so far Carr hasn't looked good in the cold, but, you made a good point before. Like, it's not to say that the guy's just completely awful in the cold. He can get better with time practicing in it and whatnot. And it's not like he's never like he's playing in a division with the Chiefs and the Broncos, 2 places that get pretty cold in the winter. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's playing in Tampa. He's only going to Atlanta and New Orleans, dome teams and whatnot. Like, he's out west and it gets cold out there. So, I think that's one side of it. Another side of it that you have to look at, like the other side of the coin, is the fact that it's a lot easier to play the quarterback position in the cold or in the heat when you have a really good defense. If it's really cold out and you have to
Big
make
facts.
it, come back in games and you have to put up 30 points in games, it's always going to be tough if your defense is just getting shredded. Again, being in a tough division against, Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. And then, despite the Russell Wilson struggles, it's still like a stacked team. Like they still have tons of talent. So, I think the playoff record, or I guess lack of playoff appearances, the cold weather, they're small concerns, but at the end of the day, like the Jets have just had atrocious quarterback play, and Carr is a top 15 guy, and nobody's saying Carr is like a top 5 like lock. I mean, I guess outside of the report that the Jets are saying that he could be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but outside of that, I think the Jets would be in good hands. I don't want to make this decision off of whatever you said before. It was like 14, 15 games in like cold weather. Like to me, I'm not just going to trash his entire resume because of those games.
Yeah, right. I feel very similar. And I think too, like, Ian, I'm from New Jersey, right? So I used to be out there in the morning scraping my windshield, 6 a.m. doing the whole thing. Then I moved to South Florida, right? So I moved to South Florida in 2006. The first time I went back to New Jersey, it was just under a year later. It was 50 degrees and I was literally shivering. Like I had changed. I was a different human being within a year. I'm like, it's freezing. Everybody's out there in their t-shirts and shorts, 50 degrees. Do you think that maybe like, hey, look, he has been playing in California and like so the cold games have been a little bit limited, but if he was playing here more often, that he would adjust? Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely feel you. I'm from Florida. I live in Tampa now, and I got this on. It's like 75 degrees outside. So no, I feel you with the cold. I think another thing too that we have to layer in, like who was Carr playing in those cold games? Because it's not just the weather; it's also West Coast to East Coast. If he's playing against the Giants, the Bills, the Steelers, like these are long trips, cross country, different time zone that we have to factor in.
Now, listen, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we hear you just fine.
Right. Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you see? Because I'm frozen over here. I don't know what's happening. Am I still frozen on the screen?
Oh,
From you
yeah,
guys?
you are. I just noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, this computer, I just got a brand new hard drive and everything is giving me baloney. In the event I get kicked off, just keep it going, Gunny, and I'll be back in a minute if that happens. At least I look stupid. I know, look, if it's going to happen, I really would prefer I look stupid. So I think we've done that. Now, sadly, I can't put up the super chats, but we'll talk about them. I do want to mention, guys, we will try to get to as many of your questions as we can. We have Ian from Jet Central here tonight till about, I'd say 9 o'clock or so. So we'll try to get to as many of your questions as we can. But super chats,
as you were saying,
the
super chats will go ahead and get mentioned. Now, I don't have access to the super chats, so we're going to wait for GreenBean to go ahead and get situated back there. But Ian, real talk, I got to ask you. I've been kind of curious. I watched a lot of your videos. When it comes to the Derek Carr versus Aaron Rodgers debate, who are you hoping the New York Jets get and why?
I'm down for either. If news breaks tomorrow, Rodgers wants to be traded to the Jets, that'll be cool, right? Same thing with Carr. But I think with Derek, there's just, for me, I just have less question marks going in with age, with a possible retirement from Aaron Rodgers. I don't feel like you get like a ton of drama, a ton of baggage. You're also getting a guy who is just going to be cheaper. I know Rodgers is going to be like a $15 million cap hit, but you take a look at the rest of the contract, that's still money that Woody Johnson has to pay out of his own pocket.
Right.
So I think for me, it's Derek Carr. Although I do think Rodgers gives the Jets a better chance to, make that Super Bowl push. What's up, Bean?
Okay.
Hey,
he's back.
So
he's back.
thank you. Keep going.
I think in a 1 year.
I'm with you. Good. Keep going. I got you.
Let's go. I think in a 1 year vacuum, it's probably Rodgers that gives you the best shot. But for me, if I had my choice between either, looking at like the entire situation, what we'd have to give up and all this stuff, I'm going Carr. What about you, by the way?
Okay, fair enough.
Carr,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a
Go on,
big
Gunny,
fan
I'm
of Derek
sorry.
Carr as well, Ian. I am,
Mhm.
and I look at it this way, right? I think one of the things when it comes to this game, this sport we all love so much, is we're playing to win the game. You play to win the game, right? You're trying to get to the Super Bowl. You're trying to go ahead and host a Lombardi. And I understand there's a price difference, and with Aaron Rodgers comes maybe a limited ability for us to kind of like boost up our roster. But I do believe Aaron Rodgers gives you the ability to hide a lot of aspects, you know what I'm saying, a lot of deficiencies. But I'm with you, man. I do believe that our best bet to be Super Bowl contenders is with Aaron Rodgers. But I'm also okay with both individuals. But the more and more I peel back the onion, if you tell me we get Aaron Rodgers over the next 2 years and that can potentially give us a chance at the Super Bowl, whereas you get Derek Carr, which I do believe with Derek Carr will play over a playoff team. And once you're in the dance, anything can happen. I've seen myself shifting from Carr being that safe, you know what I'm saying, conservative bet to, man, the chance to get into a Super Bowl and potentially win it. Aaron Rodgers going toe-to-toe with the likes of a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen. With a broken finger, this dude legitimately was still a top 10 quarterback this year. And to me, that was impressive. Again, we're talking about a guy with no true number one wide receiver. Aaron Rodgers with Garrett Wilson, I see some explosive plays coming. So I find myself over the last couple of days just shifting my thought process to, go all in, shoot for the stars, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Unload the entire clip. Let's go ahead and get rounds downrange. I want the Super Bowl pursuit. I want the high of pursuing a Super Bowl. So I find myself really hoping that Aaron Rodgers is our guy. But again, if I have Derek Carr, I'm not mad about it either. But yeah, I find myself looking at Aaron Rodgers like, you know what, even if it's just for 2 years, we're in the Super Bowl conversation for those 2 years.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. The way you put that is really interesting, right? It's almost like the Tom Brady. Would you sell your soul, so to speak, for that 2 or 3 years? That 2 years that Tom Brady gave him, got a Super Bowl and some playoffs. Would we sell our future a little bit for that? And like Tom Cahill is saying here, Ian, and thank you, Tom. He says, why did they let him leave? Does that mean that they don't like him maybe as much as some of us hope? Or do you think it's just they're going to wait for Aaron Rodgers at least for a certain amount of time? Do you think it's Rodgers? Do you think they don't like him? Why'd they let him leave the building in the first place after a 3-day visit?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. Maybe they told Carr, like, as much as we love you, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers here, literally one of the best to ever do it. So that's, one side of it. I think another point that also has to be brought up, Derek Carr could have said no too. Like, I love you guys, but I also love the Saints. I might hit up the Panthers. I do have a lot of options. I think his brother actually came out and said that he's going to do his due diligence, take his time. He doesn't want to rush into it. It's kind of like the first time he's been a free agent. Yeah. Actually, the first time he's had an opportunity to choose, his NFL team or, his next NFL team. So maybe he just doesn't want to rush into a decision. And the Jets had an offer on the table, or, maybe it was better than New Orleans. And Carr was just like, I love this. This is definitely in consideration. I'm just going to sleep on it. I'm going to take, maybe another visit and then lay out all my contracts on the table and then, decide from there.
That's an interesting take. That's the other end. What if the Jets had stacks of contracts on the table?
Yeah.
Please don't leave. And he's like, hey, man, I don't really want to sign. Right, like you said, it's his first time. And he happens to have a beautiful, very rare moment in time where there's no competition. He's the only dude on the market right now. He could just stroll easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and do it at his own pace. I think I would probably advise, if I was in his camp, I'd say, dude, take it easy. Nobody else is meeting with anybody. It's you. So just, make sure that you like who you like. Now, just on that, I want to get to E-Boogie, and then I have Boomer Esiason made a comment today, kind of on this side of things, a little bit about maybe Carr having some concerns about the Jets. I want to get your take on that. But very quickly, I don't want to overlook our buddy E-Boogie. He's checking in with a super chat. He says, oh, snap, Jets Central, Greenbean, and Gunny tonight will be legendary. JC, between Carr or Rodgers, who's your favorite? So, you kind of got there, but just to put it, nice and clean for E-Boogie, if it's you and everything is equal, you got all the resources, you got whatever you want, who you picking today?
I think, short answer, I love them both, but what separates Derek Carr ahead of Rodgers for me is the age. There's not going to be a threat of retirement. You're going to have a longer window with that said quarterback. He's going to be cheaper. You don't have to pour all your resources into not only just, paying him the contract, but also trading for him. So you can now, utilize those draft assets to help, figure out the offensive line. Maybe go get a safety. If Quincy Williams wants too much money, maybe you can go add another linebacker. You're not like completely strapped for cash and free agency. And then you're not, like you said before, like selling your soul. You're not, sending your future away for 1 to 2 seasons with a guy who's going to be 40. But I do love Rodgers, and it's not to say that if the Jets land, I'm going to be like, I'm going to be like pissed off and all irritated, like this guy's like washed.
Yeah, I'm going to be super excited. I will say this though, I find myself really hoping that it's one of those two guys. I'll be just as happy one way or the other when it comes to Carr and Rodgers. But like when we start going down a little bit, as much as, and you mentioned it earlier, most of these guys, if not all of them, are going to be a stark, immediate upgrade from what we've been watching here with the New York Jets. But still, if we go to like Jimmy G or Tannehill or Jameis Winston or whoever it is, it's like, even though they have their positives, and again, it'd be better. I would be really disappointed, man. I have to admit, I really would. So, all right, I want to get this. This is what Boomer Esiason said today, guys. Now he was on his show. I don't know if you saw this yet, or maybe this was yesterday. I forget. Either way, I just saw it today, Ian. That much is straight. So Boomer said this is talking about Carr having concerns about the New York Jets, and he mentioned Zach Wilson and what's kind of going on with him as that concern. And the way he said it was, I do not know what the Jets are doing or that the Jets are doing anything with Zach Wilson, regardless of what the fan base may think. I'm not saying he's in the running to start next year, but he is going to be here. He's going to be a part of the team. That I know. They're not giving up on him just yet. There you go, Jets forever. You can wrap that around you like a warm blanket. That may be sticking. That may be the sticking point. I'm not sure, but it could be a sticking point for Derek Carr. So I want to actually get both of your opinions on this one. This was this is interesting, even though it's probably just bullshit. But Ian, what do you think about this comment? Do you think Zach Wilson kind of being here, if the Jets conveyed to him like, hey, look, we're going to develop him, we still want him here? Because most of the time when a starting quarterback is usurped, 99 out of 100 times the team moves on. They get that quarterback off the roster because of potential splits and all kinds of, factions being created and all that sort of stuff. They usually move on. So do you think that this could be a sticking point for Derek Carr?
I think for Derek personally, like if I'm Derek Carr, I would ask, I'm like, what's going on with Zach Wilson? Like, do you want, like, am I going to sign this deal? And, I'm going to show up for camp and there's going to be like a quarterback competition, or I have to be like looking over my shoulder. If I threw, 2 picks in a game, are you guys going to be threatening to put Wilson in? Like, I want to know that, like, as Derek Carr. But I think the bottom line, if I'm Joe Douglas, or, I'm running the New York Jets here, I am not letting Zach Wilson influence the decision whatsoever. Now, that could be like an ego thing with JD because he did select him, second overall, passed up on numerous NFL, I don't want to say stars, but really good players, including, a couple quarterbacks here and Fields, Mac Jones, Trey Lance. So, I know Wilson is Douglas's guy, and it is kind of a blemish on his resume. But at the same time, I think if you were to ask 31, the other 31 general managers, who are you taking, Zach Wilson or Derek Carr? Everybody's saying Carr. And I'm not going to let Zach Wilson on the roster affect my decisions, right? If Derek Carr says, like, let's just say he comes to the Jets and is like, hey, you know what? I love you guys, love the defense, love the situation, love the offense, whatever. My only fear here is the whole Zach Wilson situation. I don't want to be looking over my shoulder. Can something be done about that? If I'm Joe Douglas, I'm saying, yeah, 100%. We got to get you in the building. Like, I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with the top 15 quarterback, top 6 quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, debating on whether or not the bottom 3 quarterback should be on the roster, is going to be on the roster. Like, I'm not even going to paid any mind. Like Carr, you can just do whatever you want. No quarterback competition if that's what it's going to take.
So you're right, man. And like that's the thing. It's like we're stuck with them in many respects, Zach. Now, if they get a trade, who knows? But it's more being that it's more expensive to cut them than keep them. I mean, it would look like he's definitely going to be here. So kind of having to navigate through that is really kind of, number one, it's important, but it could get sticky. Gunny, do you agree with Ian? How do you see that one?
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. I think if you ask the third string quarterback on the team, they're going to tell you they're a starter in the NFL, right? So Derek Carr legitimately being a starter in the NFL, being afraid of a Zach Wilson. These guys have been bred to compete since they were kids. They've been doing it for a very long time. It's the very reason why they got to get to the highest level of their sport, their profession. I have a very hard time believing that anybody in the NFL level is afraid of competing for their spot. I think everybody that gets to that point has an alpha dog mentality, and that's the reason why they're in the position to play in the NFL. It's not like everybody can do it or just anybody can do it. If you're on a roster, you have proven to be an alpha dog in this sport. So I don't think that there's any real, I guess, truth behind him being scared about Zach Wilson. But yeah, like Ian said, I definitely asked, hey, what's the deal with Zach? Is he going to be the starter? Right. Like, am I competing with him? I don't want to know specifically like what the intent is. So I know, okay, I'm coming in here to compete with this kid or whatever the case might be. But I don't believe for a minute that Derek Carr is afraid of Zach Wilson being his backup.
Now, let me throw this at you. Do you think that if Carr is signed, that's kind of all she wrote for Zach as a starter? I mean, Rodgers, you have like this whole kind of idea that, all right, if he's here for a year or 2 years, we develop Zach on the back burner. Aaron Rodgers and Zach are very, very buddy, so he's going to help. And it's going to be this beautiful marriage with daisies and but Carr, look, theoretically, you can have him for 5, 7, 10 more years by the way quarterbacks are playing these days. So what do you think? And Ian, I'll bounce this one to you first. And Gunny, I'm curious too. Do you think Carr, if he is the guy, kind of sends a message that Zach's pretty much done?
Yeah, I think, you just brought up a good point about Rodgers. I think that's kind of what Joe Douglas, like that's his perfect plan, right? I go get Aaron Rodgers. We win a Super Bowl next couple of seasons. He retires. My guy, Zach Wilson, takes over and he's the guy for the next, 10 years. I think that's what he's thinking. But no, I think if you go out and you sign Derek Carr to a, whatever it is, even a 3-year contract, 3-4-year deal, you're not signing a guy like that if he's going to be replaced after a season and a half. Again, Zach Wilson has the raw tools. Everybody talks about the upside, the hype. I get it completely. Arm strength, quick release, but I'm looking at Derek Carr as the guy. If he comes into the locker room, like he's the franchise quarterback, there's no quarterback competition. There's no question marks. If he, has a poor game, if he throws a couple picks, like it is what it is. I want a situation where we have some consistency, have reliability. We know who's going to be playing the QB position, like no matter what. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah. Now, like William Sprague is saying here, it's time to get married, Gunny. Do you agree with Ian? If we marry Derek Carr, Zach, whatever happens, you can develop him, but he's pretty much a backup unless injury happens over the next bunch of years. Is that the way you see it? And maybe I'll throw this at you too, very quickly. Do you think Zach would sign on? Like, let's say Carr is here, he starts, where everything's great, and clearly, they're developing Zach. He feels good. Do you think he would sign an extension if they wanted to keep him as like their backup for a few years? Or do you think he would hope to be able to bounce out of here, leave the toxic fans behind, and go somewhere else, Gunny? What do you think that would look like?
Yeah, I'm going to mirror what Ian is saying as well. I do think if you bring in Carr, that's pretty much a wrap for Zach. I think you're going to see Zach get a couple of opportunities to shine in games where we're either winning the game by several touchdowns. We got a high lead. God forbid an injury happens, or maybe we're sitting Carr because we secured the first seed in the AFC, and then we let Zach Wilson get a couple of games to go ahead and showcase his skill set. But I do believe if Carr is the guy that JD is thinking trade. I think JD is thinking trade. He's thinking about what he can get back to recoup that lost asset in the number 2 overall pick. Could Zach Wilson maybe become a serviceable backup quarterback in this league? Yeah, I believe so. I just don't think that it's going to make any sense for him to go ahead and accept the contract extension because, again, like I said before, alpha dog mentality. Zach Wilson thinks he's a starter in the NFL. Even after the last 2 years, he thinks I am a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think for him, an opportunity to go somewhere else and compete would be where he winds up going if he decides to have an opportunity to become a free agent. So I think it behooves Joe Douglas to go ahead and get a couple of games maybe over the next couple of years to franchise Zach Wilson again. That arm talent is there, right? That arm strength, that zip, that it's there. I think the majority of us can agree that the majority of his concerns is mental. Maybe a coach believes they're so good at what they do that they can go ahead and help tweak that mentality and let him really unleash what exactly. And I think that's where his value comes in right now. If Carr's the guy, I think Zach Wilson is traded within the next year and a half, 2 years. If it is Rodgers,
go on. I'm sorry. Go on.
I do think if it's Rodgers, though, I do believe that he's on the roster potentially having another opportunity post the Aaron Rodgers time with us.
Zach attack.
To kind of build off of your point, it's super interesting. I think another thing that should be brought up is if Zach is one of these guys that you can just get him on a short sample size, like in the preseason, like next year or 2 years from now, and he just looks like a beast against backups. And then you can maybe flip him. He's out of the limelight for a couple of years. He's not like, the fans are rabid against him on social media. I mean, even like national sports media that just kind of forgets about him. It reminds me a little bit of like Drew Lock, kind of, where it's obviously Lock wasn't like as high as a pick, but just a young quarterback that had a couple opportunities, didn't, splashed here and there, but wasn't, really consistent whatsoever. Maybe Zach can be something like that, where you just kind of put him as the backup and then he flashes in preseason and then you can maybe trade him and get some better value later on.
I like how you thought. That's an interesting way to look at it too, man. Like, keep Zach here, kind of shake off whatever this weird kind of malaise that he's stuck in. Let him shake it off, no stress. And then he looks good. And then there's a deal for him or something like that. But like I said, look, we saw it with Sam Darnold. He was quite literally the 32nd ranked starter in the NFL. And Joe Douglas got a second, a fourth, and a sixth for him, which brings me to this interesting super chat. Thank you, Billy Blanco. He says, as long as JD does the fleecing, I'm good with whomever we attain. Now, this is interesting. I'm very glad that Billy asked that question. I want to add to it, if I may. Ian, how do you feel about Joe Douglas? Like, there are some fans like he's on the hot seat, playoffs or bust, and then there are people that say, no, he's done enough. Even though he whiffed on Zach and some others, but he's done enough that he should be, given the opportunity to do this longer, even if they don't make the playoffs. With his trades, you can't deny he's done well, but is that enough? How do you feel about Joe Douglas overall?
Yeah, I'm kind of honestly in the middle of the road. I know it might not be like the most popular thing to say. I don't necessarily like love Joe Douglas and like all of his moves that he's made, but at the same time, I don't think he's like horrible. I don't think he's a bottom general manager in football. I think he does know how to build a roster. I think a lot of the problems that he's kind of brought to the team, it sounds horrible, but some of the problems that he's brought to the team, just it's like the Mekhi Becton thing. It's just like Mekhi Becton is not a bad football player. He just continues to get hurt. Denzel Mims isn't necessarily a bad football player, just doesn't really fit the system anymore. Sticking with Gase that first season, not, obviously like the smartest move, but at the same time, it's, allowed him to go get his guy in a fresh process after the year. The trades are awesome, right? Jamal Adams, Sam Darnold, you mentioned it. That stuff's all great. There's been some positive stuff too. Like some of these, I mean, of course, like the young stars in the team, Garrett Wilson, the 2 rookies of the year, like all that stuff's fantastic. But the two things that bother me just a couple years in to this whole Joe Douglas regime, we've spent so much money and a lot of draft capital on the offensive line, and it feels just like it's not even close to being done. And then the quarterback position. Now the quarterback position could be figured out like that, with Carr, whoever it is. I don't know. I can't get over how the offensive line is like this shaky this far into the process after, we've had multiple signings here and multiple draft picks here, and it's still like, man, this is still a major question mark. We look at a team like the Chiefs. I think it was either last offseason or the season prior. I think it was the season prior. One offseason, they completely fixed their offensive line. Free agents
season, right?
Yeah, and it's a fantastic unit. So of course it's the Chiefs. They're great at a lot of things, and I don't want to hold the Jets to that standard. But of course I don't want to make it sound like it's so easy to do. It's just a little frustrating knowing how long Joe Douglas has been here. He's a former O lineman. He loves the offensive lineman. We've spent a ton of money, drafted a bunch of guys, and it's just like, here we are, February 23rd, and Rodgers and Carr are looking at the offensive line saying like, man, this is not ideal.
Yeah. You're not alone on that one too. And like, I have all my spin, right, to why this and that, but the truth is you're nailing it. 3 years, 3 drafts, 3 off seasons, whatever happened, you look at the offensive line. We're going into this offseason with that being next to quarterback, the number one need. I mean, there are fans out there that if we use our first 3 picks on offensive line, they'll be fine with it. Yeah, go ahead, right, man. So that is something. I mean, again, the injuries, it's been kind of anomalous, 6 offensive tackles. But all that being said, it's still something. You have to look at that. What is the issue? Maybe the vetting process wasn't there for, guys like Mekhi Becton or whoever else, all these guys that got hurt. Max Mitchell, right, with the blood clots and all that kind of stuff. Who knows? But it's really interesting to see, like, what the hell is it? Because something's going on there. We're still here looking at this offensive line. I want to remind everybody, we are here with Ian from Jet Central. Not that I need to say that, but I did it anyway. So we're having a good time. We're talking about some New York Jets football. And I know, Gunny, I know you have a couple of questions for Ian as well. Now I'm going to get to G Money here, and then I'm going to bounce it to you, Gunny. I know you had a few questions on deck for him as well. And I mean, this is the thing. This when I'm having a good time on this, it flies by. That's why I end up staying on till midnight. That's what happens. It's like, just, that was 2 hours. Anyway, G Money, thank you for the super chat. He says, what should JD say? Zach sucks and we don't want him. It's all salesmanship. Bring on the offers. Now, Ian, we're just talking about Zach being developed here. We're talking about it's more expensive to cut him and all those things. Do you think underneath it all, Joe Douglas is he's just painting a picture and he's waiting for the first deal? If it's like a third or second, he's taking it. You think that's possible?
Gosh, I don't know, man. Cause it's like Joe Douglas, it's hard to see if he's like, cause I mean, there's some general managers out there with a major ego. Like Gettleman was one with the Giants, where it's just like, you could just tell that he believes in his guys and he's going to die on the hill is basically what I'm saying.
Right.
I don't know if Joe Douglas is in that camp yet. I just don't know. I mean, there's so many question marks with, literally, it's not an over exaggeration. That first draft class did not work out whatsoever.
Pretty rough.
Like Braden Mann worked out that first season, but now here we are a couple years later. It's just like, man, now that's not even working out. Bryce Hall looked pretty good. Now he's a backup. It is what it is. He's still a solid player, but we can just go down the list, like pick by pick. Ashton Davis, James Morgan, like that first draft was pretty much a wash. And it kind of made no sense too, because it was with like Adam Gase, and they're drafting a bunch of players to fit what Gase and Greg Williams want to do. And then I personally felt like Joe Douglas knew in the back of his head that Gase was not going to be here long term.
I agree.
So, and all these players were picked like specifically for what they wanted to do. So a little counterintuitive. So I don't know. It's tough to answer that question, because I feel like if I knew Joe Douglas personally, like knew his like real personality, I feel like I would have a better answer. I think if I'm Joe Douglas, though, I would try to move off of him. If you get if you get a 4th round pick for him, that's awesome, because not only you're just getting rid of, potential problem here with Zach Wilson, and like you're getting rid of the headache, but you're also getting rid of the $20 million guaranteed, which I think is huge. The only thing is that it's just going to be like a knock on Joe Douglas's resume. Like, oh, who's the guy that picked Wilson 2nd overall? A bunch of like Ryan Leaf jokes already. So I think that's just something he's got to live with.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's really another good point. We don't really know. I mean, putting a finger on Joe Douglas is still pretty difficult. You have kind of themes and stuff, but he's hard to see. He trades back, he trades up, he does this, he picks it, he signs 2 tight ends in free agency, then drafts one in the 3rd round. He's hard to kind of put a finger on. But like, will he die on the Zach Wilson hill? Is he going to be so stubborn? Because that was his big pick. I don't know. I mean, or is he practical enough to just say, hey, man, it's not working out. Give me the 3rd round pick. Go ahead. I don't know. It's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, look at what like the Eagles did with Wentz. Like, it just wasn't working out. He's becoming too much of a headache. The contract is just like, we just got to move him. Indy, here you go. We're moving on with Jalen Hurts,
Yeah, and look at that in hindsight. And then a year later, even Indy gets rid of Carson Wentz, which is interesting because he had 27 touchdowns and 7 picks.
Yeah,
and
he was
such an asshole. They still got rid of him.
Yeah, he was a beast. I mean, like Wilson hasn't had that
No.
like he hasn't sniffed that type of production. So I don't know. For me, I would just get rid of the headache and just shoulder the blame. Hey, it is what it is. I just gotta learn from my mistake. That's the mindset that I would have if I'm, Joe Douglas here.
Yeah, and it's sad to say, I don't know if you heard this one. We've been talking about it, but the Jets haven't had a 10 touchdown quarterback in the last 3 years. And look, we're still here. What are we doing here? What are we still doing here with this friggin' team? We can't get 10 touchdowns out of our quarterback, man. All right, Gunny, did you have anything that you wanted to throw at Ian? And before I continue with the super chats?
Yeah, definitely. So recently we started hearing that there's a little bit of controversy between Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. I'm seeing a lot of reports talking about that he is now being thrown back in the ring as potentially an option. Now, knowing the 3 options or the 2 options we're all excited about, Lamar Jackson getting thrown into the ring, how do you feel about Lamar Jackson potentially as being an option for the New York Jets?
Yeah, I would love it. I think an ideal situation is Lamar and the Ravens not getting a contract done. I think the deadline is March 7th. I could be wrong on that exact date. That's the last day that they have. Don't work something out. He gets the non-exclusive tag, negotiate, strikes up a deal with the Jets. He signs. Ravens don't match. Jets trade 2 first-round picks. I know it's a big price tag, with the money and the picks, but you're talking about a unanimous MVP a couple years ago. I don't want to let the past couple of seasons with some injuries, some like weird injuries, just muddy his entire career or resume. I love Lamar. I think he would be so much fun to watch. And if Joe Douglas, if Robert Saleh go down, like I would want to see them go down fighting and trying to bring in like a superstar like this, as opposed to, settling for whoever it may be, like their 4th or 5th option. The only downside with Lamar here is that the Ravens still have that little bit of power with, what they want to do.
Lamar, what a scary one. And we'll dig into that a little bit too. I do want to say hello. I actually meant to earlier and I forgot, my bad. I got into some, but I saw Matt O'Leary was in here. Ali from Loyal New York Jets fans stopped by. Dylan Terraman from Jetnation is here. I also see DKB is in the house. So a lot of you guys stopping by. It's great to see you all here, and we appreciate it. It's always nice to have all of you guys popping in, throwing comments out there. I always love it. So now I was I'm hoping that we can get off the quarterbacks at some point, but we'll see. So Arbiv checked back in. He says, and look, at least it's another angle to look at this. He said Rodgers looked washed at the end of last year. Can't see him beating Burrow, Mahomes, Hurts with him. Do you think that Aaron Rodgers was washed? Gunny brought up, I think the finger injury and all that. And he had, kind of a whole new team, different offensive coordinator. And he still had 3,700 and change. And do you think he looked washed, Ian? And are you concerned about going head to head with the likes of Burrow, Mahomes and so on?
Yeah, I think, realistically speak, he was dealing with a broken thumb, like we were talking about before. Is he washed? I don't think he's washed. Some of the performances, though, like that game against the Lions at the end of the year, you win and you're in and you don't get it done. Like, I get it. The lines are good. The lines are on the come up, but that's a game that you're thinking like Aaron Rodgers would finish it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he didn't. There were times where it was just like boneheaded interceptions just right over the middle of the field, like right to a linebacker. So there were times where it's just like, man, Rodgers doesn't really look all there. But if we remember, I think it was the season before they drafted Jordan Love. He was looking a little shaky. And that was one of the reasons why the team decided to go with Love. And then the back-to-back MVPs came with Hackett. So who knows how it'll play out. But I don't think Rodgers is just like this trash quarterback now, this like bottom feeder, bottom 10, bottom 15 guy. Still a top 10 guy for sure. I don't know if he's still going to be like elite. Like if he gets traded to the Jets, I'm not going to be sitting here expecting like 45 touchdown passes, 4 picks, over 4,000 yards. I don't think it's going to be like that crazy. But, on the other side of it, it's just like he's getting up there in age. It's not like he's 31, 32, 33. I believe he's going to be 40. Right. So that's, forget the exact saying, but you start to see the drop off, and they do come pretty quick, especially in football. Granted, the quarterback position seems to be able to play longer these days with the rules, and you're not allowed to really get hit all that hard anymore. Yeah, right. So we do see the longevity there stretch out a little further. But at the end of the day, like when we're talking about NFL players in their 40s, it starts getting a little dicey.
Yeah, man. It's hard to put a finger on it. Again, I mean, him having a bad year is better than even the Ryan Fitzpatrick miracle year that we had in 2000. Like, it's still better than that. That's how, when you're talking about a truly great quarterback, even those dips. But like you said, I think one of the most legitimate concerns would be, did we just see the first step off the cliff? And we're going to get this guy who's his arm's weak, he's inaccurate, he's tired, he quits in the middle of the season or something crazy like that. That would be terrifying. I do want to mention, I see our buddy Jet Engine in the house. He's buying memberships to the Stream Beaners. Thank you, Jet Engine. You are quite the fella, I have to admit. And thank you. I want to thank Crossfire as well for joining the Stream Beaners today. If you guys like to join and get your access to a bunch of free emojis and a free super chat, I think it's 1 a month, maybe 2 a month, something like that. You get a free super chats and everything. You can do that very simply by clicking the join button right underneath the video, and you will have immediate access. But thank you, Jet Engine. I think he bought one for Rusty Spooner. What a guy, huh? I'll tell you. I like it. So Euphoria checks in. Now this, Gunny, I want to get your opinion on this too, because interestingly enough, we didn't bring up the picks aspect to this whole quarterback thing. He says, Carr and the 13th now. It'll please every Jets fan for a draft day stream. The team will win a Super Bowl, not with Rodgers. So he's saying, I think what you're saying, Euphoria, is that Carr in the third, maybe head-to-head Carr and Rodgers, tilts it. But then you add the fact that we're going to keep our 13th pick and then whatever else, maybe the scales tip a little bit. So, Gunny, I'll throw this to you first real quick, and I want to get Ian's thought as well. Does the 13th pick skew you in any way?
The most important position in all of sports is the quarterback position. The 13th pick sounds great. It's a gamble. We're throwing it out there. We're hoping whoever we decide to pick is going to be a home run hit, right? Like we just saw it happen this past draft where it seemed like Joe Douglas couldn't miss. I don't know if I'm willing to gamble that's going to be the case every single season. The 13th pick right now is very enticing. I have some offensive tackles that I would love to see be on the Jets with that particular pick. But the most important position in all of sports is quarterback. And I'm going to go to the Philadelphia Eagles, probably the most well-rounded roster in the NFL this past season. Healthy, everybody was good to go. They still lost to Patrick Mahomes in the clutch on a hobbled leg. At the end of the day, the quarterback position is the most important position in all of sports. And so for me, I'm not saying Carr can't win a Super Bowl. I'm not that person that's going to say, oh my God, if we get Carr, that's it. We're never going to win a Super Bowl. I just think that Aaron Rodgers gives us a better chance of getting to the dance. People are going to, I'm seeing some people in the comments saying like, it's not our quarterback versus their quarterback, it's their quarterback versus our defense. That's cool. But our quarterback playing well and excelling allows our defense to rest and play a different kind of game. So if our quarterback is outdoing the other person's quarterback, that means it's more rest for our defense. That means they can pin their ears back and go ahead and go all out in pursuing a quarterback. It matters. Quarterback versus quarterback, it matters. Like the way the quarterback plays is going to dictate how well the defense can play. And imagine our defense being able to play with a lead. Imagine our defense being able to play with a lead. I think Aaron Rodgers is that dude, man. And I know I'm probably in the minority when I'm talking about, yeah, let's just go all in to win it now. But I'm also going to tell you this. I don't think it's going to cost us the 13th overall pick. I really don't.
You're nuts.
I think it's not.
You're nuts, Gunny.
I'm telling you, listen to me. If Aaron Rodgers came out of his darkness retreat today or yesterday or whenever it was, and he stated, you know what, I don't want to be a Green Bay Packer anymore. He already knows where he's going. He already knows where he's going. And I'm a firm believer that there's already been conversations had about Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. I believe there's already some conversation that's been had. It's just a matter of Aaron coming out of this freaking darkness retreat and saying, yeah, let's make it happen. I think it's going to be a conditional first for next year, and it'll be a second pick this year. They're going to get our second round pick this year and a conditional first next year. That's what I think the package is going to entail. Because if they want the number 13 overall pick, that's going to be it. I don't think we're giving them anything else but the 13th overall pick, and then we're going to go ahead and absorb that $58 million freaking signing bonus we got to give to Aaron Rodgers when the season starts. Like, they're not going to get more because they don't really have a lot of leverage like a lot of us think. If Aaron Rodgers decides he doesn't want to play there, guess what? He's not going to play there. And we've already seen the reports saying that the Packers are kind of like hoping they can push off of him to go ahead and go on to the next chapter. They're kind of like in a rebuild mode. I think all of those things come together have reduced drastically what that price is. And if you've already taken out the NFC as potential individuals you want to go ahead and trade him to, well, congratulations. The Raiders just came out today saying they are not pursuing Aaron Rodgers. They can't afford to. They can barely pay their coaches. So they can't afford to bring Aaron Rodgers in. The pool of individuals who right now would like Aaron Rodgers or could make a play for Aaron Rodgers, I think Rodgers would be willing to go to, is very limited, especially when you're talking about the AFC. And I think because of that, there's a very good chance the New York Jets get Aaron Rodgers and keep the 13th overall pick. I do believe that.
Well, look, JD has been somewhat of a magician at times, even getting so much as trading for a guard for free. How the hell did he pull that off with the Chiefs? So he's done some things. I don't know about that. So, Ian, you feel the same way. Number one, like from the super chat, does the 13th pick tilt you toward Carr if you have them kind of, even? Does it tilt you that way? And like Gunny said, do you think it's going to cost the 13th pick for Rodgers?
Yeah, so I actually I agree. I think Carr and the 13th pick, it does sway me. I think the 13th pick, to disagree, I think it does make sense because it makes sense to keep that pick because it's not like the Jets are just one player away. It's not like you insert Aaron Rodgers and it's like we're going guaranteed. You still got to get through teams like the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow and Pat Mahomes. You talked about them. There's a lot of really, really good teams. Herbert and the Chargers. You would assume that these Steelers are going to get a little bit better. Deshaun Watson, full off season with the Browns. And then we look at our own division. Not only is it just three really good teams, but it's three really, really good defensive coaches in Belichick, McDermott, and now Vic Fangio. I think you're looking at the Jets offensive line with question marks. I'm looking at safety of a question mark, at maybe linebacker. What's going on with the Quinnen Williams extension? Is he going to hold out if he doesn't get it? And that's assuming that the Jets, it's not 100% guaranteed that they're going to be releasing certain veterans like Carl Lawson and Corey Davis. But if we're now in a position where we're going into next year without as much talent right off the bat, we don't have as much money to spend on the roster to fill these positions. We don't know if we're going to be able to keep some of our homegrown guys. And now we're in a position where we have to trade the 13th overall pick or more to go get Aaron Rodgers. I just don't know if Rodgers would want to do that at this point in his career. Maybe if he had like 5 years left, but I think he might be looking at the situation where it's like, in the NFC or in the AFC, if you're an expansion team, which conference would you rather want to start, right? Or go in?
Right now,
it's probably the
right.
NFC.
Totally.
I would say right now, Rodgers, if you were to stick with Green Bay, he would probably be the best quarterback in the NFC. I can't I like Jalen Hurts a lot, but I just can't really think of a guy who I'm saying that guy is 100% better than A-Rod right now. So I think Green Bay, it might be, as far as just getting to the playoffs, that is just easier, like in and of itself, compared to what the New York Jets have to go through because of their schedule, because of how many wild card teams that are going to be solid and in the mix. I mean, I know there's the third wild card now, but even, you look at the couple teams that miss out on the playoffs, like those teams are still going to be like really, really talented. Some will have franchise quarterbacks, some will have superstar players. So for me, keeping the 13th pick and signing Carr does sway me in that direction.
I have to agree with you. I know, look, Gunny, you're not alone out there. Definitely people saying, and I wish I would be delighted if that is what happened. The Jets get Aaron Rodgers and they just gave a conditional something or other oh my God, that would be wonderful. I don't know. I don't know. But Jet Engine popping in about Carson Wentz is apparently Wentz is a tool. I mean, dude, to be on 3 teams in 3 years and with producing, he's producing on the field. Like he's been better than any Jets quarterback, since I don't know. I don't even know. 27 touchdowns. I don't know when the last Jets quarterback. Vinny threw 27. I really don't know. But and he's still bouncing around. So hey, Ian, what do we got you for a few more minutes?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So let's do this one from Craig, and then we'll bounce you on out of here. And once again, dude, I want to thank you for hanging out with us. Very, very quick hour from my perspective. So thank you. And you're getting a lot of love in the chat. I'm not sure if you're perusing, but lots of people, you're lots of people's favorite Jets YouTuber, and they're saying as much. It's really nice to see. So Craig Safolacek, and he says, awesome when my favorite Jets guys get together. Ian, are we ever going to be able to wear our green here in Tampa without getting laughed at? What do you think, man? Are we turning the corner here, Ian?
I think we are. I think we are. As much as we can point to like the cap situation or the O-line problems and not having a quarterback, I think the Jets are still going in the right direction. I think they have the right guys in place, and I mean the one point that I keep coming back to is 7 wins with pretty much all of our young stars getting hurt, like AVT and Mekhi Becton and Breece Hall,
right?
And horrible quarterback production. I mean, we could point to multiple games where one play literally would have changed the game, like the walk-off punt return against the Patriots, like in the final seconds. I mean, come on. And the Braxton Berrios drop in the end zone against the Vikings. I mean, you could very well make the argument that the Jets could have been a 8-9 win team with horrible quarterback production and all these guys getting hurt. So although I do think that New England, Buffalo, and Miami will be getting better, I think the New York Jets are for real. They just got to keep on building, keep on grinding, filling out the roster, and building the culture.
Yeah, I like that, Gunny. He's pretty positive. I feel positive too. Like you said, dude, we won 7 games and we had 6 one-score losses, and we had abysmal quarterback play, sometimes almost not even present. It was like as soon as they walked down the field, you felt it. You're like, oh, we're done. We're not going to do anything, and you knew it. And we still managed 7 wins and 6 one-score losses. I know it's I get it. I hear myself talking, but it is still 6 one-score losses, man. We were in all those games. So it's pretty amazing. You know what? I have a question for you before you go, Ian. I just want to know one thing, and then I will thank you for your time, sir. If the Jets are going to make a trade, now not quarterback, we see Cortland Sutton, we see some other guys out there. If the Jets are going to make a trade this offseason, do you have one that's kind of at the top of your list? Or if not, maybe who's your number 1 free agent that you think the Jets need to bring in?
Man, so outside of quarterback, it's as far as a potential trade, I'm not 100% sure, just because I think if we're talking about the Jets acquiring a really good player here, the chances of that or like the reason why that player would be traded is probably because he wants like an extension or he wants to be paid more, whatever it is. I just don't know if the Jets have the luxury financially to go get another superstar unless it's like a 1-year deal type of thing. Because I mean, we're already having question marks about paying like our all-pro D tackle and Quinnen. I don't know if the Jets can trade a draft asset, go bring somebody else in, and then extend that guy. But to look at the free agents, or I guess like the big names that could be out there, Orlando Brown gets me fired up, and then Jesse Bates, Jesse Bates too. So, if the Jets maybe get a deal, or let's say like if the Jets miss out on like a Carr, Rodgers, and they settle for one of like these middle tier guys, like Tannehill gets released and they bring him in, on like whatever, a $15-20 million a year type of deal. I could see the Jets maybe releasing Corey Davis, releasing like a Jordan Whitehead, and going to sign like Jesse Bates or something like that, like a big name stud. I just feel like the offense is the side that really needs help.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's funny, we do all these mocks and it's like we always end up skewing defense. And it's like, dude, we need some offensive help, man. I think if we just made this offseason in large part about the offense, I think it would be time well spent, because that's where we need a little bit of juice, baby. Offensive line, maybe wide receiver, like we're talking about, quarterback. But Ian, I want to thank you, man, for coming on. Jet Central here with us. Fantastic show. Again, went way too fast. Do you have anything coming up that you want to let anybody know about, or maybe if you have something that you want to point them toward, anything like that?
Honestly, man, like not at all. We just got the quarterback stuff to go over. Like that day is just gonna be insane, man. Like I can't wait to see what the Jets do. I'm hoping we don't get disappointed. I'm hoping we're not all let down here. But no, it should be fun. I appreciate you guys having me on. Feel free whenever you guys want to hop on my channel. Feel free anytime you guys want. Yeah, thanks so much. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. There he goes, everybody. Ian from Jet Central. You can find them all over the joint. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, you know it. But hey, have a good night, man. Thanks again.
Later, guys. Thanks so much.
Pleasure.
There he goes. What I tell you, Gunny, I mean, it's like it flies by. I thought, this is what in my head, when we started the show, this is what I thought. We'll talk quarterback for a few minutes, just get that out. And then we'll go into, Quinnen, we'll go into Cortland Sutton, we'll go into Lamar Jackson. Nope, it ain't happening. But look, now, Steve Love, thank you for the super chat. I will ask Gunny, is this the guy? Is this, you mentioned this a few minutes ago? Was this okay? So Steve, Gunny was kind of talking about this a few minutes ago about, the specific truth is, Steve's right. Truth is that it's the quarterback versus the defense. But we hear that all the time, right? Like, Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady, and that it's kind of the marquee aspect of what it is. And I think, while I do agree with you, Steve, I mean, really, like if you have a lockdown defense and they're a great quarterback, can't get anything done, and all our quarterback needs to do is get 4 yards a clip and score 10 points, fantastic. That's going to be optimal. But I do think Gunny kind of nailed it on the other side. Like the other point of view is that it's really about what those two quarterbacks can do while they're on the field, which pretty much enables the rest of the game to evolve, and then ultimately whether or not they can win. I think that's pretty true. You know what I mean? So I'm with you, Steve. I am, but I'm also I can see it the other way. Gunny, you have anything to add to that one? I know you spoke about it before. Anything else you want to clarify or add to it?
And I get what Steve is saying. Like when you see that whole this QB versus that QB thing, it probably does get a little bit annoying when you realize it's really the team versus the team. But the matchup aspect is true. Whichever quarterback has the better day on average is going to be the team that wins. That's just how football works. And even if it is against our defense, if our defense is having a bad day, because it does happen, our defense can get got, right? Having a quarterback that can go ahead and overcome whatever that looks like puts you in the driver's seat. And so I get where he's coming from 100%, Steve. Like I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying when it comes to it, that quarterback versus quarterback debate has some validity to it, because you're talking about your quarterback being able to overcome whatever that other defense can bring at them, while our defense holds it down or doesn't hold it down. So that quarterback versus quarterback debate unfortunately is always going to be a concept.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like I say all the time, Gunny. It's like, and I know there's more to it than this, but the truth is all we need is 4 yards a clip. That's like it's in its simplest form. If your offense can get you 4 yards of play, first and 10, second and 6, third and 2. It's like, and then it just keeps going on from there, and then you go into the end zone. You're on the field all day. I mean, if you have nice, slow progress, no, it's not as exciting. Maybe it's not as exciting, but that's all you need, man. It's all you need, and you would win pretty much every friggin' game because your offense would be sitting on the bench all day. I know there's more to it, but it really is that simple on one hand as well. And I'm going to get to the other super chats right now. I want to point out Jet Engine had a message. Let me find it here. So Jet Engine, again, thank you. He's out there, Gunny, purchasing memberships for people. Now, we did this last month as well. So I just want to say thank you, Jet Engine. But he says, "What's up, guys? Rah Gunny." Yeah, I know you're right. Now, did I do that right? Did I do it?
Yeah, you did. You did.
Okay, there you go. I don't want to, sound fraudulent. You know what I mean? A-Rod or Carr are both huge wins. Jimmy G or Tannehill are trash and pointless moves. Carr with the Jets. D, Garrett Wilson and Brees will be fired. Do you agree with Jet Engine? Do you think that, Tannehill and Jimmy G are pretty much pointless?
It's too no, I cannot say that because we've had our quarterback room and we've seen what pointless really looks like. I think when you look at anybody that he's mentioning, it's an upgrade for the Jets. And I keep saying this to people. I keep seeing a lot of comments about like, oh, the Jets are still, 1-3 pieces away, blah, blah, blah. The fact of the matter is, had the Jets had Jacoby Brissett at quarterback last year, they would have won the AFC East. It was Jacoby Brissett production last year. The New York Jets win the AFC East. And you're telling me like he's at average as Aaron Rodgers? I think Aaron Rodgers can give you more wins in that scenario. Whenever I keep hearing that, I'm like, you're never going to have a team that's 100% done. It's not how the NFL works. Very rarely do you have the perfect situation. We had the perfect situation during the Rex years, right? But we didn't have the quarterback, and it didn't matter having a fully well-rounded roster. So whenever I see that, I'm like, think about that. We win the AFC East this year if Jacoby Brissett was our quarterback.
It's crazy.
So whenever I'm like, I can't agree because we would have won the AFC East with a Ryan Tannehill or a Jimmy Garoppolo production type. But no, I will say this: if we don't get Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr, I will say whoever we bring in is going to still be a letdown for the fan base. But it's still on what we currently have on the roster.
Right. And exactly. Even though that is absolutely correct, any one of these guys out there, even Minshew, man, any one of these guys are going to be an upgrade. And if we had them last year, if all things were the same, even with Brees Hall getting hurt and AVT and all this stuff, even with all that, we're at least in the playoffs, likely winning the AFC East because of the 2 Patriots games, the last Miami game, and the second Buffalo game, man. We were in that thing too.
We were in that the whole time.
You know what I mean? But look, Jose Corniel's he's like, I had it, man. Just signed Carr already. He's good enough. Now, the way you put that is kind of, that's a lot of Jets fans are saying, like, that's what we don't want. And I think while we're talking about Tannehill and Jimmy G and Minshew and Brissett, they're definitely going to be upgrades. But I think, like you said, Gunny, it is going to be a disappointment because this is an opportunity. You know what I mean? Yep. And we rarely get these opportunities where it's like we could very well be the most attractive landing spot in many respects for an Aaron Rodgers or a Derek Carr. We really could. It's been said out there that we're the number one, spot, considering all the potential landing spots for these guys currently. And that's rare in and of itself, and the fact that we do have what looks like, I mean, we don't know what it'll be next year, but this year was a top 5 defense, man. And we do have a bona fide superstar at wide receiver and at running back, assuming that he comes back and is what he was, man. And then we have nice pieces all around that. The tight end room is strong. The rest of the running back room is strong. So like the idea that we would have all this and then settle for a Ryan Tannehill. That's where it is, and I think, Jose, you're right. If, rather than waiting for Rodgers, which I do think is what's going on, I think Derek Carr would be just a fantastic move, in my opinion. I think it would be very, very strong, and it would be what we need. And I think that we'd go right to the damn playoffs. And then once you're in there, that's all you need to be in those playoffs, baby. I do want to take a moment real quick and thank our sponsor here, Gunny. As you guys know, and look, with Manscaped, they're the sponsor. You guys know this by now. Dude, they put out an ad with the beard thing with this guy with a fluffy white beard. They put out an ad and they sent it to me. And I'm like, hey, well, if you're going to do that, if that's the route we're going, hello, what about me? Put me on that damn ad campaign, man. I'm actually going to reach out to them tomorrow and say, what gives? This guy with his white beard. I mean, come on. This beard is 100% maintained by Manscaped, everybody. I'm not saying it because they're sponsoring the show. It's actually the truth. This beard is 100% Manscaped, from the oils now that since they dove into the beard realm. It's the oils and the balms. It keeps it nice and soft. My face moisturized, and the shape stays pretty much where I want it to go with the balm. But in addition to that, they have the new beard buzzer and all the other stuff that I love. But guys, even before the beard thing, it might sound weird, but I was using the ball thing, the lawnmower 4.0 for your balls. I was using that on my face, Gunny. That's what I was doing.
I do the same thing. That's how I trimmed this all up. Was with the same thing. Yep.
See, because it's amazing, dude. The truth is, it's a slam dunk product. And look, Gunny's using it for the same reason I am. I mean, it's the best buzzer I've ever had. And I've had a bunch different brands, whether it be Philips or Wall or Norelco. I've had tons of different brands. The Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 was the best one that I ever had. I used it daily. And now I brought it in again. Now I have this bad boy right here. Look at this thing. Gunny, all the attachments, the bag full of attachments. No more. This has like 27 settings, I think it is. You just spin it on the wheel.
Go ahead and the height.
That's it. You don't need the attachments that are all over the place anymore. So guys, I want to remind you, Manscaped is just about the best products you're going to find in this arena, whether it be for your below the waist grooming, your balls and such, or now your face. You can do all of this with pretty much the best products that I've ever used. You can save yourself 20% at checkout using the promo code GreenBean, and I will add that's in addition to whatever other sales and percentages off they're giving on their website. They're always running things. You can tack the 20% on top of whatever they're already giving you. It's amazing. And you also get free international shipping. It's pretty much the best deal going. And I thank Manscaped for sponsoring the show. And I thank all of you guys who use the promo code GreenBean and save yourself 20%. I think, why not, Gunny? Why not save? You know what I'm saying, buddy? Why not?
That's a win. That's an additional win.
It is a win. So, okay, now, guys, I do want to remind you, tonight we are going to be giving away the signed Garrett Wilson mini helmet right there, courtesy Gunny's giving it away, but is it courtesy of someone, Gunny? Is there a brand you want to say? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, courtesy of Bash Babe Events. They've been sponsoring a lot of my giveaways. They're a party planning company, and they're awesome. They've allowed me to go ahead and give a lot of stuff away this past season, and they're sponsoring this one. Bash Babe Events coming through again, and special shout out to Gino, the Italy Jet, for being the individual that's allowed us to get a lot of this memorabilia at ridiculous prices, right? He's able to find stuff and gives great deals to us. We've been working with him throughout the season as well. So compliments to those two individuals for making it possible.
I'll tell you what, you just look at Italy Jet, with you can see that he knows how to get a deal. If you just talk to him for 30 seconds, whatever else this guy is, he knows how to get a deal. He's like, hey, how you doing? He just knows how to do it. He's a good guy. And so that's really cool. that he's the connection to the memorabilia. We're giving away the mini helmet tonight. Guys, all proceeds are going to help Nick Shine from proud New York Jets fans who's hit a real rough patch. He's a good man. He's a father, and he's just having that. He's just hit something, and he needs a little bit of help. Jets fans, we've risen to occasions such as this in the past, and we're hoping that we can in the future. Now, Gunny, the link to the I didn't put the link in this particular description. Do you have it? Can you send it to me? I'll stick. Yeah, I'll stick it in the. Yeah, go ahead and post it in the chat. Excellent. So Gunny's going to post it in the chat if you want to get in. All donations will be immediately qualified for the Jets mini helmet, and that is how it's going to roll. We're going to do that in just about a half hour. We'll give away the mini helmet, so you got a nice chunk of time to check your bank account, see if you got an extra $600,000 to throw at this thing. You can do that, or maybe it's $5, one or the other, whatever you got. It is appreciated. And again, all proceeds go to help a truly worthy cause. There's no charity. This is straight up. The money goes right to help our boy Nick, and that's the way it's going to go. Steve Love checking in.
Actually,
what'd you do?
I actually got a message I want to go ahead and read out before we give the giveaway from Nick. I'm thinking those people have already provided. So I'll be reading that before we get through the giveaway.
Oh, amazing. So, yeah, I saw Nick in here earlier when we first got started. I saw Nick, proud New York Jets fans, in here. I don't know if you're still here, Nick. If you are, hello, and keep your head up, buddy. You got support. We're all out here. But yeah, so Gunny will read the message, and then we'll give away the Garrett Wilson signed mini helmet, and then we'll get into the trivia with Wat2K, who just bailed. I don't know where he went. He was here and he took off. So who knows? He'll be back, and we'll do some good Jets trivia. Steve Love checking back, and he says, "I want Rodgers. I'm speaking in general." So, look, Gunny, and I think you alluded to this earlier. If all things were equal, like if we just have our choice, if both guys and every single quarterback out is like, I want to come to the Jets, I think I would choose Rodgers. I mean, honestly, yes, it's a shorter deal, but then you have the Zach piece is not like Ian said really well. It wouldn't make my decision, but it is a bonus. And, I think that 2 years with Rodgers, we could legitimately make a case for getting into the Super Bowl. And that I think we could with Carr too, but Rodgers, I think it's a little bit greater of a chance. So if all things were equal, I would pick Rodgers as well, even though I really love the idea of Carr, but did I get that right? Is that kind of where you are?
100%. I think a lot of people, one reason why I love Rodgers so much is when you look at the playoffs this past season, the New York Jets had the second highest ranked defense if they had made the playoffs, right? Unfortunately for us, without the quarterback, it doesn't really matter. So having a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who may not play on the level of a Patrick Mahomes, he may not be on the level of I don't know, Josh Allen is sporadic. You never know with him, but he's no Joe Burrow anymore. He's no Patrick Mahomes. I get that. I'm not naive to that. But those guys don't have our defense. Those guys just don't have our defense. And that alone, I think, could be enough to tilt the odds, so to speak, in that battle of in the AFC. So that's why I'm so keen on Aaron Rodgers, is because what it boils down to is I think he can go ahead and elevate that offense to a level to beat a Patrick Mahomes, because I think our defense is really that good, giving our guys a chance to go ahead and go toe to toe with Pat or with Joe Burrow, who I think are two of the most ridiculous quarterbacks right now in the NFL. But yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think, yes, it's probably going to be just a 2-year window. I get that. I understand that. And then we're right back to the drawing board. But man, what a ride it would be if in those 2 years we're talking about getting to the Super Bowl. Like, that to me is something that the majority of us have not experienced in our lifetime. Oh, so why not take a swing for it, while we can still afford to, before we have to start paying the likes of a Garrett Wilson, a Sauce Gardner, like a Jay, because we're going to have to pay those guys eventually. And the windows get a little more difficult to maintain at that point too. So waiting around, talking about it, we're too many. We don't have enough pieces. We don't have, 10 years to figure it out. Like, we're going to have to pay Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Jay, and we're not going to be able to pay all those guys. Some of those guys are going to have to be let go because we won't be able to afford them. So swing for the fences now.
It's true. I mean, look, optimally, it would have been really cool if we would have nailed the quarterback and had this team 100%. For the next 3 years with Zach.
Yep.
It would have, but silver lining is, even though it's not Zach, we still have the larger core of our team is on their rookie contracts for the next few years. And that is, at least we have that. That's very, very helpful. I think, again, it would have been, I mean, look, dude, if Zach hit, look how perfect this build is. Really.
Oh my gosh.
You know, again,
Zach
there's
hit,
offensive
we're
line
talking
injuries
about
and all that. But sorry,
starting
go
our
on.
own dynasty. Like if Zach had hit to be even an average quarterback, we're talking about potentially starting our own little run as a dynasty because that defense is that good. He's young, he's cheap, and average quarterback play with this level of defense, like I said before, would have won the AFC East this past season.
Oh, you're so right. It's just a bummer, dude. And now, like, the goal was to not have to pay a quarterback $35 to $50 million. Now we wanted to wait a couple years so we could just think about if we didn't have to do that. Like, if we didn't have to add $35 or $40 million, we can pay Quinnen with no problem. You can keep Quan and Quincy, really no problem. You can keep all these guys that you want. You can let go of Corey or whoever else you want, but paying McGovern if you want. Whatever plans you had, not an issue. But now we got to find money. And I mean, it's a bummer. It's a bummer. Tony Alexio checking in. I got to admit, Gunny, I don't know about this one. He said, can we get a good punter from the XFL? What do you think? Did you get a chance to watch any XFL games?
I have not yet. My brother-in-law actually is talking about us going to see a couple. There's an XFL team here in Houston called the Roughnecks or something like that. But I have not seen a game yet. I don't understand the rules of the XFL, like if it's on par with what we need them to do in the NFL. But I mean, I'm not opposed. Obviously, right now we need a punter. You know what I'm saying? I think Braden Mann has proven to us he is not that dude. So for me, if we can find a good punter in the XFL, why not move them up to the NFL? Right? I'm not opposed to it. I just don't know enough about the XFL and the rules for me to say yes, this guy could potentially be great at the NFL level.
Yeah, you know, it's a sad thing with Braden Mann because when he's on, he's among the best. But it's that inconsistency. You can't live like that. You just can't. No. You can't live. And he has that ability, like the knack for when he is inconsistent and he's on the negative side of that. It just so happens to be when we need him not to be. Like we're pressed back, exactly. 24-yard shank. It's like, oh, come on. So, hey, Thomas Cahill, I want to apologize. It turned out that I skipped you for a little bit there. My bad. Jeremy caught it and let me know. So thank you to Jets Chaos, who is with us today, as you guys know, producing the show from the background. He does more than you think, guys. He's running around, figuratively speaking. So thank you, Jeremy. And Watsu K is here on deck. New York Sports Wicker Media. He's just sharpening his trivia blades. That's what he's doing right now. He's there. He is. He's ready to do that. But so Thomas says this quarterback thingy is making people tense. Do you feel that, Gunny? You think people a little bit on edge? I mean, I know we're fatigued. You think people are getting touchy with the quarterback situation?
I don't think so. I think it falls more along the lines that we're just tired. We're just tired. I mean, we've been doing this for far too long now as a fan base of hoping and praying for the quarterback, a franchise quarterback. And I think right now it's more of we're exhausted with it. We're more anxious. Just pick a guy. Give us Carr, we just need a guy right now we know is going to be the starter so we can stop talking about it, because I feel like this has been a conversation way too much in too many off seasons for the Jets over the last decade. And I think that's what he's referring to is just like we're over it. Can we just get a guy in the room that can play the position appropriately so we can talk about other aspects of the team?
Yeah. I agree. I think you got a good point there. Now, Jet Engine, again, Stream Beaner, and he's out there gifting people Stream Beaner memberships. So thank you, Jet Engine, again. And to all who he's done that to, make sure you say thank you. It's like my mother. Did you say thank you? I'm like, I'm fucking 50 years old. I said thank you, Ma. You know, you don't have to still tell me. Did you say thank you in front of them? You know what I mean? Like my mother still does that stuff to me. So I'm sorry, but Jet Engine, good dude. Now they're in there talking about Neil O'Donnell. I think it's Jet Engine and our buddy Joe S. talking about O'Donnell. O'Donnell did suck on a stacked team, but I do like what Joe said here. Jet Engine. He said O'Donnell wasn't washed. He was exposed. So he was never good. He just happened to kind of be good enough on good teams like the Steelers to, carve out his career. He wasn't terrible, but once it was like he was the guy who's supposed to win it for you, he was completely exposed. It took Parcells all of one season to get rid of him. I mean, he was here in 2000 or 1996. He was part of the 1-15 team. He was injured. Frank Reich came in, all that stuff. But then with Parcells, they did make it to 9-7 with Neil O'Donnell. But Parcells, I mean, it was Neil O'Donnell and Adrian Morrell. Lots of Jets fans liked those guys because we're used to mediocrity. Bill Parcells said Neil O'Donnell sucks, got rid of him, brought in Vinny Testaverde. And then he said about our boy Adrian Morrell, who we liked out of West Virginia, running back. He said, Adrian Morrell leaves yards on the field. Not a good statement for you. He's very talented. So what is he saying there? He's saying, hey, man, he's not giving us everything he can. So I don't want him. And that's when he traded for Curtis Martin. So pretty good move.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
Can't argue with that move. Chris KV checking in. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. He says, I'd like to help. What's the link for the GoFundMe? Now, were you able to put it in the chat?
I did. I put it in the chat. I can send it to you too if you want to put it in the
put it in the chat one more time. I'm going to go to the bottom and grab it. I'm going to pin it so you guys can have it up there. It was in last week's stream and all that jazz. But yeah, we'll put it up there for you now. For anybody who wants to donate and help our buddy Nick shine through this rough patch, it's greatly appreciated. And then, hey, as a bonus, you are entered to win a signed Garrett Wilson mini helmet. What's wrong with that? Ain't nothing wrong with that. So, all right,
a little charity and a little giveaway. Yep, it's on the bottom.
Let's see.
New York Sports Worker Media did it too. He posted it as well.
Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Whoops. Okay. Come on. Sorry. Hold on. Bear with me. I'm going to put this thing in there. So wait, let me get a super chat up here and then we can talk about it. And then I'll do it. How's that sound? We can't have dead air, Gunny. Can't do it. All right. Let me see. Where are we here? The guys, thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for all the support. It's really incredible. I'm having a good time tonight, man. It's flying by. But this is you guys are rocking in the chat tonight, man. I see all kinds of great conversations going on. Sam Aiken checking in. Thank you, Sam. He says signing Carr would allow him to work earlier with the offense. Why are we overthinking this? Well, you think that's one of the benefits, Gunny? Like, signing Carr now kind of gives him that much more time to be, get to have the playbook and all that kind of stuff. Do you think that's one of the benefits of him signing early, or do you think it's not really all that big of a deal?
Well, I would agree with Sam if not the individual we're waiting around for is Aaron Rodgers, who already knows the offense. Aaron Rodgers, the offense that Nathaniel Hackett would be implementing legitimately is something he won 2 MVPs, doing. So I think that if you were talking about, is this, Jimmy Garoppolo or Ryan Tannehill we're waiting around for, that makes a lot of sense, Sam. But in this situation, it's Aaron Rodgers that we're looking at. And just 2 years ago, he won back-to-back MVPs running the exact same offense Nathaniel Hackett plans to implement with the Jets. So I don't see that being an issue at all. I think Aaron Rodgers coming in now, or we have to wait June 1st, is going to be like having an additional coach out there on the field playing, and teaching these guys like Garrett Wilson or Elijah Moore, or Mims, for all we know, Breece Hall, being able to get them in the right position. I think that's actually more of a benefit of if Aaron Rodgers comes in here to run the same offense that he had 2 back-to-back MVP seasons playing just a couple years ago. But no, if it was anybody else, I'd say, you know what, you're right. Get him in there, start working with the team, get to understand the offensive playbook so he can be more of a benefit in teaching these young guys where he needs them at. But in this case, if Aaron Rodgers is the guy we wind up getting, it's well worth the wait because Aaron Rodgers already knows the playbook.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think, Sam, it just boils down to you want to do things expeditiously, but you don't want to do things prematurely and without, full exploration into every possible pro and con. You want to perform due diligence, man. I think that's actually advisable. And again, let's not forget that Carr, you need two to tango. This is his first time being a free agent, and he could want to go out there and really see what our team's willing to offer me. Maybe there's a team like the Commanders that says, hey, we'll give you $75 million a year, baby. Come on over here. Like, who knows? So he would be kind of foolish in from a certain point of view to, the first or second team he meets with just signing the papers all quick like. So you got to remember, there's a lot to this, and I think the Jets definitely want to at least hear what Rodgers has to say, having come out from the dark room. And so anyway, for us, I think our time it's slower out here, but it's really not that much time that's gone. That's gone by. It's really not. It's only a couple weeks. So I think we'll get there. Now, I just want to point out Jets Forever. He's been in there. He's still talking the exact same argument, but he says, Zach needs 60 plus passing attempts a game. Pass the ball every play. That's how we win. That's Zach at his finest. I just want to point out that Tom Brady had the most attempts this year. It was in the 790 range. If it was 60 passing attempts a game, you're talking about over 1,200 passing attempts. So it's completely ridiculous to think that that's the way that you win. No one does that. Jets Forever. Just want to point it out. Have at it. Have on. Keep going. Let's point it out. So, guys, in the poll today, I had a poll question up. Many of you voted, over 300 votes. Thank you for contributing. It was, do you think Lamar Jackson will end up in Miami? That's a rumor going around today that the Ravens and Dolphins are working on what would be labeled a blockbuster trade for Tua Tagovailoa would go to Baltimore, and Lamar Jackson would head down to Miami. That's pretty scary proposition. We don't want yet another great quarterback in our freaking division. But 87% of you said hogwash, baloney, ain't happening. So I tend to lean that way as well. I think it's probably much to do of nothing. But Gunny, you think this one has any legs? Is this something you could see happening? The Ravens trading Lamar Jackson inside the AFC to the Miami Dolphins?
No, absolutely not. I don't believe if they're going to trade Lamar Jackson, I think they're going to go ahead and push him towards the NFC. I don't think you're going to risk having to play the likes of a Lamar Jackson, in the playoffs, wild card contention, anything like that, and get beat up by the guy who pretty much dominated, your offensive production for the last 4 years. I don't see that happening at all. I don't think this is a situation where they care whether or not Lamar Jackson's feelings get hurt. I don't think they care whether or not he doesn't have a say in where he's going to go. They're going to go ahead and take the most they can get from him. And I think in this situation, the NFC is going to pony up quite a bit to try to get their hands on the likes of a Lamar Jackson. If they were to trade him within the AFC, I'd be shocked. And I also don't see what Miami would have to offer them that they would want. They have no first round draft picks this year. They barely have any cap space. So how are they going to pay the likes of Lamar Jackson? It will be a lot of players lost to bring in on Lamar Jackson. Let's be honest. This is a team that defensively has holes everywhere. Offensively, outside of the wide receivers, has holes everywhere. What are you really gaining trading Lamar to the Miami? What are they giving you? What are they giving you of value? I don't think they have the ponies to go ahead and make that happen. So no, I don't see that being realistically something that we have to be concerned about. Lamar Jackson playing in the AFC East.
And right. And to add to that, do you really think, and Gunny, I'll throw this right at you. Do you think Tua Tagovailoa is like with all his concussions and everything? Do you think that there's any team, particularly a team that's as well run as the Ravens, that would give away, and not give, but get rid of their quarterback and take that risk with a guy like Tua? Do you think that they would ever consider such a thing?
Not in a million years. The Miami Dolphins don't even want Tua. They've been trying to get rid of Tua for the last 3 years. We all know it. So if the own organization doesn't want him, and then this past year, I mean, again, God forbid anything was to happen to Tua to where it's permanent, but he took some pretty bad hits. he's concussion prone. And I know we've all seen the articles come out. Once you've gotten a couple, it becomes easier and easier to get them. And he had several this season. I don't see any team wanting to take on the kind of publicity the Miami Dolphins had to endure when they put Tua back out there when he clearly was concussed. So no, I don't think Tua is going to warrant any kind of buzz for any other team in the NFL. The Miami Dolphins are stuck with Tua because they don't even want him, but they're kind of stuck with him right now because what are their options? What other options do they have? Just hope that he just can stay healthy and can avoid some concussions in the future. But I'm pretty sure the Dolphins are looking towards the draft in the next couple of years to potentially find their next quarterback. So Tua, I don't think has a lot of trade value in the NFL.
I have to agree. I mean, look, I feel for Tua. I do. Like, you guys know, I've said it a million times. I hate every NFL player that's not on the Jets. I do. Every now and then, one guy will pop up. When I was a kid, Barry Sanders. I really liked watching Barry Sanders. I thought he was amazing. I just thought he was an incredible guy. Guys like Ronnie Lott when I was younger. And then Troy Polamalu. I fucking hated Troy Polamalu. But boy, oh boy, was he fun to watch, man. And he was just one of those guys. He would take over the world, like the whole game. He's literally everywhere. How does he do it? But so generally speaking, I don't like anybody. You know what I mean? But as far as human beings and men and fathers and everything else, I'm always rooting for everybody to be happy, peaceful, loving, successful, all those things on a personal side, right? But I got to say, dude, Tua, my heart breaks for this kid. Like it really does. He overcame, like you said, the Dolphins have been kind of, look, they drafted him over Herbert. So instantly it was like, the Dolphins suck. But Brian Flores, he didn't want Tua. He didn't want him. He benched him and all kinds of stuff was going on. So he had to deal with that. But he finally comes in this year. They get him Tyreek Hill. He's got some other toys to play with, Waddle and on and on. And the first quarter of the season, they're talking about MVP. He was on pace to be in the MVP discussion. Then the concussion thing started. It really started. Was that week 4, was it? Or week 3?
4 or 5.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
And there was all the baloney about the Dolphins mismanaged it and all that. I mean, it really was scary for this guy, man. Just you're as a human being, you look at him and you're like, no, that ain't right. When he did the thing with his hands, remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that? Like
that thing
it
really
was terrifying. Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
So I can't help. And it's like, shit, man, he proved that as far as talent, while his arm strength maybe isn't what you want, optimal. And, but the truth is he can compete at an NFL level. He proved it. And he had the weapons to get it done. And then it's just like you look at this at the tail end of the season. He got his 3rd concussion of the season. It really does look like he's going to have real trouble maintaining that starting role, the confidence in him to be a starter. And I got to say, look, maybe the Ravens trade with the Dolphins for 4 first-round picks, whatever it is, and maybe they throw Tua in, but I would be blown away if the Ravens just banked on Tua Tagovailoa being their starter all year. They just had Lamar Jackson miss 31% of the starts the last 2 years. They're looking, if it ain't Lamar, they're looking to get somebody secure. I don't think that's Tua. Would you agree?
100%. Agree with you 100%.
All right. So look at this. Now, Dom, we're going to talk about Cortland Sutton, damn it, before we get through this. I see my buddy Dom C in there. If you guys didn't know, he did another Project Prospect. It's on the channel right now. He dug into Michael Wilson, the wide receiver out of Stanford. Very interesting, guys. If you're trying to get to know some of these prospects maybe a little bit better, Dom, he's doing the work for you. He's taking the deep dive. He's exploring it. He's getting comps and everything like that. And he's putting it into a relatively short video. I think it's 7.5 minutes or so. You can check those out on this channel. We are Dom C headquarters, everybody. So again, the just got released today. If you guys are looking to learn a little bit more about some of the wide receivers out there, the last 2 have been on wide receivers, so that's real interesting. But where was the comment? But he says this. I think this is an interesting way to look at it. Not that we didn't talk about it before, but if you look at it this way, it could give you a little bit of a perspective that might change your mind a little bit. And a quarterback dilemma is like this. Would you rather have Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr and Broderick Jones? Now, Broderick Jones, if it's not him, maybe it's Paris Johnson or whoever it is that you think the Jets would bring in. If it's Skronsky, whatever. But you look at it like Derek Carr and Skronsky or Aaron Rodgers. It could give you pause. Now, you have already said pick is a pick, right? But does this give you any pause, or do you still kind of right where you were? If I can get Aaron Rodgers, I'm getting him.
There was 2 games this season where the New York Jets offensive line, as banged up as it was considered a top 5 unit in terms of pass blocking, and I think it was run blocking. The biggest difference was in those 2 weeks was Zach Wilson had the second fastest, from time to snap and to release of the ball in the league. So 2 weeks into the season, we had a top 5 offensive line. Aaron Rodgers still has one of the fastest releases in the NFL. And I think with health being a huge component of why our offensive line looked in shambles last year, a healthier offensive line. I know they're switching out the turf this coming season too, which could potentially help with injury prevention. You get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who still has one of the fastest releases in the NFL in regards to identifying where he wants to go with the ball and just getting it there. Those 2 weeks could just as easily turn to 11, 12 weeks out of the 17-week season. And now you're talking about a top 10, top 15 line based off of the ability of the quarterback to just get rid of the ball and health being on our side. I'm still going Aaron Rodgers. I'm still going Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is proven. Broderick Jones and all those, like I said before, those are guys have a lot of upside. What if they get hurt? What happens if they get hurt? We're right in the same boat that we were last year, right? With a quarterback that can potentially do more than Zach Wilson, definitively. But with Aaron Rodgers, that quick release, I think he can go ahead and cover up a lot of the deficiencies on our offensive line, the way Zach Wilson did for 2 weeks last season, where they were a top 5 offensive line in the NFL.
Yeah, just brief glimpses. But you're so right, man. Like, as much as we like a prospect, and we do this every year, we fall in love with guys, and for good reason. Sometimes they're just slam dunk prospects. They get to the NFL and anything can happen. There are just myriad top 5 picks that ended up being complete busts. We've seen them all. They're all usually right here. So, but we have our experience with them. But it happens all the time, man. Guys, that teams, they trade up, they use 3 picks to get him, and he sucks. Like, so even if the guy is looking good, he's got the skill set, he's got the makeup, he's got the mindset, he's got the ethic, all the things you like, he could get here and suck. It's a great point. Aaron Rodgers, he don't suck. We know this. So, again, bird in the hand, right, man? Very, very real way to look at it. So look, now Cortland Sutton, if you guys don't know, as Dom says, the reason we're looking at wide receivers, the Jets might end up needing a wide receiver. I know it doesn't feel that way, but when you look at it realistically, saving $10.4 million to cut Corey Davis is pretty attractive, especially for a guy who's, look, he's hurt every year, right? And he has a couple or a handful of really key drops. He does. I mean,
my gosh.
Right. And he also has an ability, Gunny, that when he does drop it, like it just likes to fly in the air.
Yep.
Like
interception.
Yeah.
Just
it's
top it up for the other team to catch.
Yeah. 2 of Zach's interceptions his rookie year hit Corey Davis's hands first. I mean, it's pretty yucky stat right there. But so he might be gone. We're reading the reports that Berrios is going to be asked to take a pay cut. He's due $8.2 million. If he doesn't agree to it, the Jets are going to save $5 by cutting him. So yeah, you still got to pay him X amount or whatever, and you have dead cap and excuse me, and all that jazz. But they could save $5 million. So then maybe he's gone. Then you got the likes of Jeff Smith. I mean, he's not changing anything one way or the other, but he might be gone too. He's a restricted free agent. He might just say, hey man, I want to go somewhere where I have a legitimate shot of starting. And that would put us down to Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims, and our practice squad guys, Irv Charles and those types. So all of a sudden we got a need at wide receiver. Now, one of the guys' names that's popping up this past couple days is Denver wide receiver Cortland Sutton. Now, Denver needs to kind of clear out some cap. You know, they made a pretty big move with Russell Wilson, and they got to clear out some cap. And I think they've already begun. But Cortland Sutton is at least rumored to be on the trading block. So I'll ask you, any interest? And if so, where's your line? What do you think? You know, because look, Hackett and what's his name? Azani, they were both with him last year. So there's already that rapport. What do you think? Number one, are you open to it? Do you like the idea? And what are you going to give for him? If so?
Yeah, no, I like the idea a lot. You know, when I saw this pop a couple of times, I thought it was just a bit of a joke because he's one of their better wide receivers. Him and Jerry Jeudy are a powerful duo for the Broncos. And I would think you want to keep your weapons going into year two, where you're still trying to figure out if Russell Wilson was a systems quarterback in Seattle or can he really play ball at this level. And so to see that he was potentially being put on the trade block, I'm a fan of this. It's something that we definitely got to look into. I think Corey Davis is definitely most likely going to be cut. And if that's the case, that's another big body receiver that we've kind of, lost out on. And I think Cortland Sutton fills that role beautifully and will be a compliment to Garrett Wilson. What would I trade for him? Now that's where it gets a little bit dicey. I'm not trading, anything higher than a third for him. Comfortably speaking, if we're going to absorb that contract and we give them a conditional fourth that can become a third, based off of performance, obviously, I'd be okay with that. I think what minimizes his value just a little bit now is because Robert Woods just got released by the Titans. That's an intriguing option for us. Somebody who was a number one wide receiver in the league, and he's performed at a high level in the league. 6'1", about 195 pounds. Somebody who runs real nice crisp routes. You know what I'm saying? He's got good length, strong hands. So Robert Woods just getting released kind of surprised me a lot. And I think when I saw that, I'm like, man, okay, if we're talking about getting Cortland for a conditional fourth, I'm in. But if we're talking about second or it wouldn't be a first, but a second round pick, let's kick the tires on Robert Woods a little bit. I'd rather take that route than take Cortland if that's the case.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting point. And I was surprised to see him cut as well. Speaking of Woods,
really weird,
but Woods is going into it's either his 10th or 11th year. I can pull it up here, but but Sutton is he's going to his 6th year. So there's something there. And then you have the experience together and all that jazz. But, I mean, dude, they both fit the rumored mold of, Hackett's desired, makeup of a wide receiver. So I think if you're going to get rid of Corey Davis, which I agree, I think sad to say, I mean, hey, I like him. He does lots of things well. And when he's good, he's good. But I think he's going to be gone. I think it's too much money. It's too clean and all that. But if we do bring in a guy, it would look like one of these two fellas. In addition to maybe we do something in the mid to late rounds in the draft as well. I mean, there's people saying first round pick, right? Jets Forever likes Jalen Hyatt. Dom C likes, I think he likes Addison the best if we were to use a first round pick on a wide receiver. So there's lots of potential for that too, if maybe the tackles are gone or what have you. But we look like we're going to need to bring somebody in. And if you could get Cortland Sutton for maybe a third, I don't know. I got to look at his contract. Do you happen to know what his? I definitely don't. Let me take a look.
Not.
Contract. Let's take a look. I'll get it up here just so we can all see it together. We'll use Spot Track because they're first. I'll share this with you. And then we're going to bring Watu on. We're going to do the giveaway. You guys stick around for that. We're going to be giving away the Garrett Wilson signed mini helmet. And then we'll do a little bit of trivia. So here's what it looks like. So Cortland signed a 4-year, $60 million contract with the Broncos, including blah, 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 blah. Average annual salary of $15.2 million. So we'll earn a base salary of $14 million with a roster bonus of $500,000. He has an $18.26 million cap hit. I don't know. I think that kind of changes things a little bit.
Yeah. It's pricey. I mean, well, he's 6'4", 220 pounds roughly. I mean, big target, but man, that's a pretty hefty price point. Yeah, no, I think I'd have to say negative. It's a no for me. Again, fourth rounder. We find a way to make it work. He could be an asset to whatever quarterback we bring into the room, and he could also alleviate getting some pressure off of Garrett Wilson. Imagine Garrett Wilson not having to worry about double and triple teams. That'd be nice. But man, that's so $34 million of it is guaranteed, 34.9. So I don't know. I don't know, GreenBean. I think for me, I'd be out on that one.
Yeah, I mean, look, in wide receivers now, what Tyreek Hill got, what did he get? 30 million?
Yes.
30 million.
30 million
right?
a year.
Oh my God. And guys like what, AJ Brown gets 25 million or whatever it was. So I mean, 18 could be seen as somewhat of a discount, in a certain respect. But if you're gonna do that, just fucking keep Corey Davis. I mean, I don't know. I think something better right now,
Yes,
but I don't know, man.
Not that price point better, not that much more better in terms of price.
Right. We're trying to recoup some money, not add 8 million and change. So that I'll tell you what, that changes some things, right?
Yeah.
Wild Wave said it best. Sheesh. That's well said. Well said. But it is going to be interesting to see kind of what we do. What is our answer to this problem, especially if we end up releasing Berrios for the $5 million and Corey Davis for the $10 million. That means $15 million and change. Yeah, sure, great. But then what do? Do you go give that $15 million to another wide receiver, and then you kind of go the draft mid rounds for the Berrios role kind of thing? I don't know. It's going to be real interesting to see. But I'll tell you, man, I think we need that money for quarterback. That's the sad part about this.
Agreed.
And Quinnen. What about Quinnen, Gunny?
Agreed. Exactly. Like I don't see us bringing in somebody who's going to cost us more than 5 to 8 mil for the wide receiver position. I think what makes more sense is we'll probably wind up drafting a mid-round talent at the wide receiver position, because it's just, if we're bringing in either Rodgers or Carr, we still need to free up the money necessary to go ahead and maintain those contracts. And Quinnen Williams, I really don't want to go into his final year without him having a deal. I really want to see that man signed. The guy just set a precedent, that we take care of our own. He's a homegrown talent. He's done everything right by us. Let's not make this dude play, on his final year without getting a contract. Show these guys, show the Garrett Wilsons, the Sauce Gardner. Say, you keep grinding, you keep getting better, you keep performing. We take care of you when it's time to take care of you. So I would really like to see Quinnen get a contract here in this offseason. So, yeah, I don't see us putting in – if we're letting go of Corey Davis and letting go of Braxton Berrios, I don't see us adding one wide receiver to take away those two salaries up to go ahead and make up the difference. It makes little sense to me.
Yeah. I'm kind of right there with you, and I'm definitely with you with the Quinnen thing. I mean, I know some Jets fans are talking about trading them and all. I don't understand.
That's insane to me.
We finally have a homegrown guy who reaches elite status. I mean, Jamal Adams, he was kind of there. He was looked at that way, but he never really was, man. He never dominated games. He didn't have a single interception from a starting quarterback in his first 4 or 5 years. I mean, I don't know, man. But Quinnen is legit elite. We got to take care of this. Right. Yep. And he's been good. And just on the other side of it, he's quiet with trouble. He's a leader in the locker room. I mean, it's like he's got everything.
Great personality. He's a guy you could put on the billboards, face of your franchise type of guy, and know he's going to represent the franchise well. You just know it. Yeah,
totally. I agree, and I think at all costs you need to sign him. Now, I just was told we have a new stream beaner. I can't find it, Jeremy. Why can't I find it? Where is it? But nonetheless, Green Dog, the newest stream beaner. Welcome to the club, my friend. I appreciate the support. And I think now you put me over the line now. I think I can add another emoji or two. So there we go. Again, I don't know why YouTube does that, man. Let me put in the friggin' emojis. They don't. They're like, hey, you want to be able to do anything for these guys? You got to get guys first. I don't like it. But that's what they do. So awesome. Thank you, Jeremy, for making sure I didn't that it didn't make its way past me. Usually it's lit up. I don't know why it's not lit up on my screen here. But anyway, Green Dog, glad to have you on board, and I appreciate it. Enjoy the emojis that are there for you now. I have a lot of fun ones waiting to be uploaded for you guys. So let's go ahead now, guys. I want to remind you the comment is pinned right now to the link to the GoFundMe page where you can donate to help support our buddy Nick Shine, who's hit a rough patch. All proceeds will go to helping him. There's no there's no charity thing where only 18% makes it to the actual charity or something. Nope, everything goes right to helping out our cause here. So we're giving away a Garrett Wilson signed mini helmet that Gunny has in his possession right there. Here he comes. He's going to show it. You got another minute or so to throw in a donation. All donations will be added to the list of people who can win the helmet. So there you go. Now, Gunny, how are we going to choose the winner? Do you have a little, because I don't have access to the names or anything. How are we going to do that?
Yeah, so everybody that's donated, I've already gone through the entire list of donors, and
donators, right?
Donators, yeah. And I used it throughout the season for my giveaways. It's called Raffle Pro. Bought it off of the Apple Store, and pretty much it's a randomizer. So everybody's name has already been put into the app. That's already done it so far. So they're all entered right there. And I'm going to go ahead and press the start button. I'll put it in front of the camera. And then whenever you say, I'll just click the stop button, and it's going to go ahead and give us 3 winners. So the first, second, third. And what I've done is if the person that comes in first doesn't want it, then the second person gets it. If they don't want it, then the third person gets it. I will say this. I've never gotten past the first person not wanting it.
Yeah.
So
that's
it'll be
rare.
right here live.
Awesome.
On camera,
now,
so they can't say it's rigged.
right. And then look, that's how we do it. It's funny, every so often I get accused of rigging the Jets Talk 24/7 talking Jetsfan. It's funny because I literally won't do it. Like I won't allow it. Like I do exactly what whoever it falls on actually wins. But somebody always says, you rigged it.
You rigged it.
Now Nick is here. What's up, Nick? Good to see you. He's checking. He just wants to make sure. Did we add the most recent donations? Can you go in there and just see if anybody?
I did.
Okay.
I don't know if they didn't put, they want it to be anonymous. So yeah, we just received actually some pretty big donations in the last 20 minutes. So thank you to the individuals that are watching right now. Actually, another massive donation. Thank you.
Now, but they're anonymous.
Well, they're not anonymous. I have their names, and
no, yeah,
I'm gonna have to read them out. Yeah, no, I'm gonna
as long as you have it.
Okay.
But yeah. Thank you. Thank you to those guys. I mean, look, we're coming around the mountain with some donations at the finish line here. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We just want to make sure everybody gets included. That if they're anonymous, then maybe they don't want to be in. They're just like, hey man, I don't need to. I just want to give. You know what I mean? Which is awesome. It's appreciated, right? So I know Balls Be Hurting says, dang, Gunny always has those sweet gifts. Very generous. Yeah, Gunny. Now Gunny goes out and buys them all himself and he just gives them all away to you guys. That's what he does. So, but he did say the company one more time that helps you out with
Bash Babe Events, party planning company out here in Houston, Texas. And yeah, they do party planning, anything from birthday parties, quinceañeras, starting to get into helping out with weddings right now. They haven't done a full wedding yet, but they've already started to participate in creating the keepsakes and whatnot for weddings. So anything you can imagine, Bash Babe Events, they can go ahead and do. You can follow them on Instagram, Facebook. Currently working on building rebranding their website, so that'll be up as well. And I'm going to be adding all that information because they sponsored pretty much all of my giveaways last season, and it's looking like I'm going to be able to get more sponsorships for giveaways this coming season. So Bash Babe Events, you can follow them on Twitter, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Just type in Bash Babe Events, they pop right up. And again, if you have any needs, whether they do balloons, everything, they do some pretty impressive stuff.
All right, so just to make sure I'm hearing it right, can you say it's like what is it? Say the name nice and slow, because I'm not
Bash Sorry, I speak fast. It's Bash
okay.
Babe Events.
Bash.
BASHBABE Events. EVENTS.
All right, hold on here. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. So I'm going to put it up there for a minute. Bash Babe Events, right? I got it.
Mhm.
All right,
Correct.
here we go.
Yep.
I'll put it up there for you guys. Hey, man, let's support the company that's doing all this, right? We want to make sure that we recognize such entities. And if we're like, it's like the same thing. It's like, look, if somebody's going to do it, you know, if I'm going to support somebody, I'd rather go to the one that's actually doing something nice, doing something good, as opposed to just randomly if I could, you know? So
we got
there you
a
go.
request
There's
from
Bash
Jennifer Slattery.
what's she saying?
So there's a gnome. I want a gnome. I actually put up a bet a little bit ago. Actually, the last game of the season, Jets versus Dolphins. Bearded Fanatic, one of those Dolphins fans you can have a conversation with, and he's very logical. You're not going to have to worry about any kind of hyperbole. Very real fan. So he and I got along just very well. We had a little bet. He swore his Dolphins were going to score 20 plus points on our Jets defense, and I laughed at him. And I was on his show actually when I laughed at him, and he called me out. And I said, "Look, up where my mouth is, there's no way." And he said, "Well, if I win, I get to pick something off of your shelf." So I said, "It can only be one of my mini helmets. I'm not giving away like a jersey or anything like that." So he chose my Sauce Gardner mini helmet, and I chose.
I can't wait. Let's see. Oh yeah, baby. That's GreenBean. There he is.
Yeah, I took it. You're wearing the wrong gear, GreenBean.
Oh, I can't. Oh, the
But
dolphin. I couldn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
So
not
he-
GreenBean.
so he
What are
has-
we talking about?
He calls him Nomi, right? It was always
Nomi.
on his set. I saw it in the background. I said, you know what? I've seen that ever since I started coming on the show. I want Nomi. And
Took it.
he put him
Oh.
up. As y'all
You
know,
are
the
cold.
Dolphins did not score. Oh, yeah. He's in enemy territory. I posted it on Twitter. I got him surrounded by the green and whatnot. It's great. So, Jennifer, as requested, here's Nomi. He's a hostage here at my house.
I love it.
Surrounded by Jets memorabilia, and I love it. Again, bearded fanatic, man of his word, though, and actually shipped it to me. I didn't think he was going to, but he did. So he gets to see him now when he watches these shows. Just stuck back.
I love it. Okay, see, it took me a second to really grasp what was going on here, but now I get it. I love it, you cold bastard, you. I love it. I approve. I approve. So, okay, let's bring Wat2K and Jeremy on so they can hang out with us for trivia. And we're going to give away the signed Garrett Wilson mini helmet right now. So let's say hello. We'll bring on Wat2K first. Here he comes. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there he comes. Look at that. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good to see you guys tonight. I'm doing just fine. And hey, very good conversation with JC. Very, very
Nice.
good stuff. Good to have him on the show tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. It's good to have you. Let me get this off your face real quick, or my face, actually. Let's say hello to Jets Chaos, the producer of the Thursday Thick of It himself, Jeremy, the Cravat Attack. We got to support Cravat Attack, don't we, Jeremy?
You saw that, huh?
Safe Ferris. Oh, is that a Safe Ferris shirt that you got on there, Jeremy? Is that what that is?
It is.
Oh,
My
not bad.
80s nerdness strikes again.
Wow.
All right. So, hey, real quick, guys, there's two people, Salty Nuts and I believe Hi-Ho or Mike. Yeah, Hi-Ho, Mike B. They're saying that the link isn't working. So can we maybe repost it? Maybe I don't know why it's not working. I just copied and pasted it. Let me see here. Yeah, it's just not clicking. Just go ahead and drop it into the comments. If you guys could. Who's going to drop it so we can tell them?
Yeah, I'll drop it one more time.
All right,
I tried to
Gunny's
do
going
a copy. Yeah, I tried to do a copy and paste, but it wouldn't let me paste it when I tried to put it in the chat. So I guess there's some sort of restriction with websites or something like that. But yeah, I had to actually type
Oh, really?
it out.
I thought I gave that to you.
Yeah, I was having issues with it. Yeah, because Nick texted it to me. I tried to then paste it in, but it didn't work. So I tried to actually type the thing out. So
wait,
yeah.
so you
that's
have
what it is.
Well, you have moderator status, right?
Yep, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so it's not letting you post the link. Let me go.
Yeah, I actually had to type it. I had to put it more than just gofund.me. I had to put like the HTTP before it. You know, that whole thing. The
Yeah,
HTTPS. I had it with the /
That's
and
weird.
then the GoFund. I had to do that, and then it worked.
I'll
So.
double check that stuff. Jeremy, can you post the link?
Yeah, I mean it's going to be this. It's the same issue, but let me open it up on another.
I think if it's in the comments, it won't direct us away from the stream because it's in the comments. It would have to be in the description.
Yeah, that's interesting because
get
when
it
it's pinned. All right, you know what I'm going to do real quick, guys? I'm going to throw
works.
it into.
It works.
Nope, it just worked. It just worked.
What, the last one?
Yep.
It works.
Yep, GreenBean, the one you just posted, it just worked.
I'm going to throw it in here anyway. Right in the description, right below. I'll just put in go fund me Nick Shine. It's in the description too. If you're having difficulty, it's now there for you as well. So yeah. All right. Soldiers in there. Okay, good. And thank you guys for letting us know. We, that's not obviously we want to know if there's a mistake or something rather than nobody being able to actually do it. We'd rather it work and all that stuff. So always thank you for letting us know. Like, look, Jeremy, you got to be the kind of friend. If you're walking around with somebody and they got a boogie, you got to tell them, dude. Right?
Do I have
that
a
friend? If your buddy has a boogie, do you just let him sit there or do you tell him?
You gotta tell them. You can't let them walk around like that. You have to let them know.
Yeah, because then they hang out with you for 20 minutes and they walk over to somebody else and they go, "Hey, you got a boogie." Now they know you're an asshole the whole time. Right. You stared at nothing but a boogie the whole time, right? E-boogie.
I gotta say, everybody, I was, people know me and Nick are close friends. I spent over an hour on the phone with him before the show, and I want everyone to understand what a difference you're making just in his voice and how he sounds. Everybody who's donating, you're really making a difference in his life and really getting him through a really tough time. And it's the money is being used in a really great way, and it's going to really help get him back.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing, man. This stuff is real. Look, we all hit rough patches and everything. So it's nice to be able to help, it's nice to be able to do that. And look, you guys are the best. That's the truth of it. You guys are the best. So let's do this. Let's do trivia. Give some people a few more minutes. We were going to do the giveaway first. We'll do it at the very end, if that's okay, Gunny, just to give people a few more minutes, right? So let's go ahead and get Y2K going here. He's all excited. He can barely contain himself. So we'll get him going, relieve him of this energy. The trivia rules are as follows. Y2K is going to ask us a question. We have 4 minutes to answer it, and we're not allowed to use search engines, encyclopedias, call friends, any of that stuff. We want to figure it out on our own volition. So if we can do that, and we get it, then we win. All right, Y2K, you are now up.
Okay, so first of all, before I actually give you the trivia question, we were talking about the Denver Broncos. Did you hear today who they hired as their quarterbacks coach?
Quarterback? No, but I heard about Westhoff.
It was David Webb, right?
Jeremy, Davis Webb. Yeah, 28-year-old Davis Webb is going to teach Russell Wilson how to play quarterback.
Gotta love it.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I couldn't get enough of that when I saw that news. So he's left the Giants, and now he's going to Jets legend Davis Webb. Never threw a pass for us.
Yeah, we had him. I'll tell you, but you know what? It's really interesting. Like, obviously, we've been talking about Sean Payton for a couple of years. We would love him. Oh, if we can get Sean Payton to come out of retirement. He ended up doing that for the Denver Broncos, and he's looking – I mean, dude, he's taking some real risks here. He went and hired Mike Westhoff, who we all love. I reached out to him yesterday. He got back to me and said, I said, hey, you want to come on real quick before you go? You know what I mean? And he said, no, we're already that's already full swing.
Already working.
I'm gone. Yeah. So, but at least he got back, right? That's neat. But anyway, he hires Mike Westhoff as the assistant head coach, and and special teams as well. Like, he's also assisting with that. But now Rex Ryan, did they hire the defensive coordinator? I know Vance
Joseph. They hired Vance Joseph.
They hired Vance Joseph. That's interesting too. But Rex was being interviewed for the first time since the Buffalo job, so it's kind of nuts what Sean Payton's doing out there. Now hearing about Davis Webb, isn't it?
Most definitely. So when I saw that news, I thought, well, could I actually pull off a Davis Webb related trivia question tonight? And the answer is yes, we will. So Davis Webb played college at Texas Tech before he went to California. He actually backed up Patrick Mahomes. Now, he wasn't a Jets draft pick. He was a Giants draft pick. But did you know the Jets have drafted, 5 players from Texas Tech in their history?
Oof.
I'm only going to ask you to name the last 2 players they've drafted from Texas Tech, and your time starts now.
I'm going to be honest. Let me think. Where's Dom C? All right, so you guys, the last 2 players that the Jets drafted from Texas Tech. What do we got here? Let us know. I will say, I don't even know, man.
Texas.
I really don't know. I mean, I could take some shots. Can you do? Is there an era like just the most recent?
Wasn't there a tight end? No.
Is it in the 80s or something?
I was thinking of tight end. That's funny.
Amaro, Jason Amaro.
Announced by the GOAT himself, Chad Pennington. Jason
Amaro.
Yeah. So Ryan Jett got it alongside of Ethan G. Yeah, and then Pigbird. I was going to say Aaron Glenn. Is Aaron Glenn one of them?
Aaron Glenn is incorrect.
Yeah, I don't remember what school he went to. Let's see. We got Johnny Hector from Paris.
Johnny Hector is incorrect.
Oh, Ryan Jett coming back. He's going to try the sweep. Is it Trevor Riley, our 7th round pick?
Trevor Riley went to Utah. That is incorrect.
Interesting. Braden, he says hello, but he's going back to the beginning. All right, Braden. Well, hey, listen, when you get here again, hey, man, it's good to see you. Glad you were here. When you get here, you'll know we said hello. We love Braden, man. Braden's a stalwart. New Zealand's #1 Jets fan, right? I have to say.
That's quite an allotment. Yes, we know.
Totally.
It's only growing.
So Curly Norman says, what was the question? I missed it. So for Curly Norman, one more time. I know the clock's ticking. Go ahead and throw it at him.
Yep, Curly Norman named the last 2 players the Jets have drafted who play college ball at Texas Tech. We got Jay Samaro, but there's one more.
Stephen Hill?
Stephen Hill is incorrect.
He's Georgia, I think.
I saw Hawk said Lamont Jordan. Lamont Jordan went to Maryland.
Hawks. Okay, so there's Hawk. Pigbird says, never listen to me. That's great. That's what it is, Dom. Texas A&M, Aaron Glenn. Right.
Texas A&M. Let's see how we're doing on time. Got about a minute 45 left.
Jet engine, stream beaner extraordinaire coming in. Ray Mickens.
Ray Mickens is incorrect.
Darius Stewart from Utah.
Darius Stewart went to Alabama. That amazingly, he went to Alabama.
Bobby Jones.
The Mets pitcher?
Yep. EJ Whitley.
Bobby.
EJ Whitley. Is that the Tigo's just trying now? Okay.
Marcus Coleman.
Marcus Coleman. Ding, ding, ding.
Is it?
It's Marcus Coleman, 1996.
Bugs Whirl.
I don't even know who that is, but good job.
Yeah, I would have never got that.
I don't know if we've seen you here before, Bugs Whirl.
Is that Glenn?
That's Glenn.
That's a capital P's in his name. I think that's
right
Glenn.
now, see if he knows.
Amazing. Jennifer won. Well, congratulations. You got it. You now put us in the win column, Bugs Whirl. So thank you. What's our record? Are you keeping track?
Yeah, we're in the off season now. The game's
okay.
We're in the off season. It doesn't count quite so much.
Oh, okay.
I know this. You're undefeated with the jersey number questions. That's for sure. Draft questions are a little harder. So
all right. Yeah, we're doing well. Ladies. At least we have a trend. We have a strength, if you will.
Absolutely.
Jennifer's asking, which Texas school had that bonfire incident? Remember that accident?
Bonfire?
Let me see. Texas bonfire accident. I remember something like that. Let me see. 1990. Yeah, the bonfire collapsed. The Aggies. Right.
So Texas A&M. Texas A&M.
Wow. So, okay, let's get to this. We're going to get to the giveaway now. All you guys who donated, thank you. It is greatly appreciated. And after we all go out to dinner at Morton Steakhouse, we're going to give all the rest to Nick. We promise. We promise. But anyway, so Gunny has been keeping track of all the donations, the donators. He's going to go ahead. He has an app. He's going to show us. Now, Gunny, I'm going to make you bigger here. Let me see this.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want no questions about this.
All right. Look how big Gunny is. Isn't that nice?
Yeah. Ooh,
so now
we can clearly
see Gunny. Let's see. He's got an app and he's put all the names in. He's going to randomly select one of you guys who donated are going to win the Garrett Wilson signed mini helmet. Gunny, whatever your process is, let us know what you're doing, what's happening, and all that jazz.
Okay, so first and foremost, I wanted to let you guys know that we're literally like, I don't think any of us expected this. This goes to show how next level New York Jets fans really are. We had a goal of $500 to reach to gain in order to go ahead and help out Nick. Thus far, we've hit $970. Like we're just about to hit $1,000. I almost double what the goal was set. Hey, thank you, Jets fans. You guys are next level. This fan base, I keep saying it, is the most passionate fan base on the fucking planet, and it's not even close. It's not even close. So this gave me chills. And I saw this thing going up. I was just like, wow, this is awesome. I know Nick is going to appreciate this. In fact, Nick wanted me to go ahead and say some stuff for you guys. He wanted to go ahead and type it out, but he's been having some issues with his internet at the hospital. So this is from Nick. He says, I'm moved by how awesome our fan base is. I'd like to thank everybody who has contributed and or sent me love and support during this trying time. It means the world to me and has given me a lot of hope moving forward. I can never thank you enough for what you've done for me. Special shout out to my brothers from other mothers, Gunny and GreenBean. You guys know how much I appreciate you guys. Thank you again to all, and as always, go Jets. Now go sign Carl and keep the picks, JD. Nick, a.k.a. proud New York Jets fan.
Jennifer Slattery just had a
good spirits.
Yeah, there's about 18 people like, take my damn donation back. What is this? What is this?
Requesting refunds.
Yeah.
So far we've had a combined 36 individual donations up to this point. So these 36 individuals are now qualified for the giveaway. Now, in order to go ahead and show you there's no funny business, we've put them all in a randomizer. So this is an app that I use throughout the season for my giveaways. It simplified the process because nope, don't do that. Yeah. So as you can see, why is there a theme now? They're trying to make me
doing
buy
a
stuff.
Siri thing or something.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Just go straight through this process. So what it does is I'm going to have it spinning in front of the camera, and then I'm just going to go ahead and click the continue button. It's going to stop randomly. Stop with the ads would be nice.
Yeah, man.
I paid for this. This is the paid version.
Oh, and it still has ad walls? I don't like that.
Yeah, I hate that. So there it is. You guys are going to see it. I'm going to go ahead and pick it live again. 36 individuals. All their names have been implemented here. Without further ado, let's go ahead and pick the winner of the Garrett Wilson
I wonder who some of the real names are with the screen names, because now we're seeing all these real names. I'm like, who is this person?
That's great.
Some of them are easy, but
yep. So here it goes.
Raffle. Okay.
That's really cool. All right. So
yes,
we're still waiting.
The screen.
All right.
Okay. And there we go.
Oh, I love it. Pick up speed.
It's like the Price is Right. It's like the showcase wheel.
It is.
Jennifer Slattery is our first winner.
It's like the wheel on The Price is Right.
Totally. Oh, we're running it. Look at this.
Second winner is John C.
John Cena?
And third winner is Thomas Hanna. Okay. So the winner, the original winner on here is Jennifer Slat. No.
Yay! All right, Jennifer.
Jennifer Slattery.
All right.
Is she in the in the chat? Is she here?
Oh, yeah, she's in the chat. She's noted. She's around.
She's the rare female in here taking all this baloney from us testosterone laden dudes. She weathers it. You deserve it, man. I agree. So what's up with the other winners? What's going on there, Gunny?
She says she wants
what usually
Nick
happens.
to have the helmet.
She wants Nick to have it.
Oh,
she wants Nick to have the helmet.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, ultimately that was the next question. If Jennifer didn't want it, we would then go to the second place person to see if they wanted it. But Nick wants to donate it to Jennifer wants to donate it to Nick. This is different.
All right. So let's see if Nick wants it. Let's make sure. We don't want to make any assumptions.
Is Nick in here still?
He was a minute
Yeah.
ago. He said he was moved to tears. He says, "I wish
He's
everyone
here.
could
Oh,
win."
yeah, he's here. Yeah, he was here
Okay.
like 30 seconds ago. He'll be here.
Well, this is
yeah,
the first
so-
time someone's told me no, they'd rather give it to somebody else. So I'm not
Amazeballs.
sure.
I'm pretty sure this is a yes. I'm pretty sure that's a yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it
I'm
looks
pretty
like
sure
it.
that's him saying, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
He wants.
Yeah.
Well, Jennifer, just to be sure, could you go ahead and put in the comments you would like us to donate it to Nick? So I know this is, you're not being held hostage or anything, and that
Right,
this is
exactly.
I don't think anybody could actually hold Jennifer hostage.
No, don't worry about Jennifer.
She beat the hell out of any of them.
Jennifer will hold you hostage.
Oh boy.
well.
She's got Derek
Well,
Carr
Nick, I
tied
guess-
up in a chair right now.
I think
She's
Derek
like
Carr
signed
broke,
the contract.
I think Derek Carr broke up with her at one time. That's the only thing I can think of.
All right,
Yeah,
there it is.
totally.
Jennifer said it again. Give it to Nick. Well, Nick, I already have your address, so I guess I'll be sending you this, my man. You know what I'm saying? So compliments of Jennifer. Again, everybody, thank you again for donating. We did not expect it to get to this level. I'm moved. I'm touched. I know Nick really appreciates this. God bless you guys, man. Jets fans, we are a next level fan base. Truly, thank you.
I agree. Congratulations to Jennifer, heartfelt, and what a move, Jennifer. So and I commend you for the heartfelt transfer of your winnings over to Nick as well, and he is obviously grateful, evidenced by his comment there. So thanks everybody who donated. What an amazing thing we got to bear witness to here tonight, and then yeah, Nick's going to be helped out. We exceeded the goal, which is just so cool to see, and thanks
amazing.
again to everybody, and thank you, Jennifer, and Nick. You'll get through this, buddy. You're going to do it, bud. You got to keep
got
our
you,
head
brother.
up, and we'll do it. Yep, gotcha. So, all right. Well, that's going to be our show tonight. What do you think? Oh, no. Well, oh, yeah, we did trivia. Okay. All right. So, quickly, let's go around the room. What's the big thing? One item. What do you got, Jeremy?
Tomorrow night, 9 p.m., I'm doing a mock draft, and there's a 50% chance that Nick Shine will be on making his return to the stream. So I can't hold him to it 100%, but he wants to do it right at the moment he wants in. So tomorrow night, 9 p.m. on Jets Chaos, mock draft with Nick Shine.
Amazing. Y2K, what do you got cooking?
Well, we had some tech issues for about a week, so I could barely record outside of short videos on my cell phone. But we are back up and running. So the Jets content will be returning over the next 2 or 3 days. I've been promising free agency stuff for about a week or two, and this weekend I will be able to record. So watch for some very big free agency profiles coming up this weekend.
All right, there you go. That sounds great. Gunny, what do you have coming up, buddy?
I actually have about 3 videos right now just waiting to get dropped. For some reason, I didn't post for so long on YouTube. I have to go through a validation or verification process. That's been taking longer than I thought it was going to take. It's been about 5 days now. So I don't know if anyone's ever dealt with this before, but they said that my account was accessed in Kentucky. I've never been to Kentucky. So right now, in order for me to get access to be okay, yeah, I've never been, so I wouldn't know. I was very surprised by that. So I haven't been able to get on to actually upload the videos that I do have, but any day now it's going to happen, and you will see content just flowing in because I have a backlog of it that I need to go ahead and upload.
Awesome. Yeah, he's going to be like, will Mike White beat Zach Wilson for this week's starting job? It's all coming out.
Super Bowl predictions finally coming out.
He's probably recorded videos on like Tannehill being signed by the Jets and Jacoby Brissett being signed.
Right.
One video for every lame duck quarterback.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
It's funny you say that, but I actually have. I have one for
exactly
for Aaron Rodgers. One for
I know
Derek
you better
Carr,
than you think,
one for
buddy.
Jimmy. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. He called me out on that one because that's actually I have one for each. So I might just drop them all anyway, just to be like, what could have been, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
One or the other. But yeah, I do have one for each quarterback.
Fantastic. I like it. He's going to drop them all in the same exact time. You get everything. I like it. Guys, I want to remind you here we have Tyson from Let's Talk Jets Radio coming on with us next week. It's going to be an exciting month. I got all sorts of nice guests. I think Tyson's coming on. Well, I think it is Luke from Play Like a Jet from 8 to 9. And then Tyson from 9 to 10. So we got a jam-packed show for you guys next week. The following week, we have Beanbagger Tier 3 benefit winner Wyatt, our newest Jets fan way out there, a Marine from Wyoming. He decided to like the Jets about a year and a half ago, poor kid. So he's coming on to say hello. And then we're going to have none other than Connor Hughes coming on the back end for the second hour with us on the 9th as well. And then more coming, excuse me, after that, a nice jam-packed offseason filled with goodies for you guys. I hope that you will continue to join us and stick around. It's just great having you guys here. This is my favorite thing to do every week. And I thank you all for watching. With that being said, I will see you, as will these guys. We will see you next time. Have a good night, everybody.
I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over there and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
JETS, 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 Jets.